Save the story someday.
All right, it's 6:30, so I'm gonna call the March 27th meeting of the Tilton Planning Board to order. And we'll start with the minutes of the February 14th, 2012 meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review these?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to bring the minutes of February 14th to the floor for discussion and approval.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody's had a chance to, does anybody have any additions, corrections?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 14th, 2012.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, the next thing we have is correspondence. It's the part I just love. The first letter is a letter to Bob Ward, and it concerns the auto wholesalers that we've met with Samberton on. And of course, those of you who came to town meeting, the warrant did not pass, the petition warrant on the ballot, which would have allowed auto sales in the resort commercial district, did not pass. So they are going to be meeting, the zoning board for this month was changed, and it won't meet again until April 17th. So they will be on the zoning board asking for a variance on the April 17th meeting. I encourage everybody to try to attend that meeting. It's interesting, and I think it would be beneficial to us, since we are on the planning board and work in conjunction, and we're the ones who sent them there originally.
It's on the 4th, is it?
The 17th,
17th.
April 17th. Okay,
And it's gonna be where?
it's the ZBA, it's here. It starts at 6:30, I believe, is that correct, Sandy?
Yes.
6 o'clock.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right, you moved to 6.
Okay.
Tuesday?
Yes.
Yes.
The next letter is just to inform us that there's a new color copier center in town. It's at Riverfront Place, Suite 215. It's called Colorama. And I guess they moved here a year ago from Newton, Massachusetts. So they offer very competitive pricing, so any time we need to have any color copies, we probably should give them an opportunity. I don't know, discuss how many color copies we require, but
Or the, oh, here,
Planning board.
okay, yeah.
The next is just the local government workshops. Again, this will be in Gus's office. These are the 2012 local officials. Sandy and I planned to attend one, and so we found out the cost, and it would cost us over $1,000. So we decided that we didn't want to do that to the taxpayers. So
Yeah.
we won't be attending that. It looked like a good one too, so we had hoped all of us could on. All right, the next one is a letter of alteration of terrain application that was submitted by Lochner Meadows, Phase 2, and it's just from the Department of Environmental Services saying that they have received that application for permit. And the next one is a shoreline permit, saying that the Department of Environmental Services has received it. The next is a driveway permit application for Winnisquam Development. It's not an approval, it's just that they've received the application again from the Department of Transportation. Okay? All right, this is an invitation to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Annual Drinking Water Source Protection Workshop. That's May 2nd in Concord, New Hampshire, at the Grapponi Conference Center. So if anyone is interested in that, again,
I'm sorry I'm late.
That was May
again,
2nd?
Hmm?
May 2nd?
May 2nd, yes. It's at the Coconut Conference Center in Concord. So again, Gus will have that. The next one is the New Hampshire Floodplain Management Newsletter. Again, for your perusal at your leisure in Gus's office. And I'm gonna bring that up now because it'll be in Gus's office for perusal. Is again the town and city. There's an article in here on laws related to appointed officials. So I know there've been some questions. I had heart failure because I was reading through our handbook and came upon the fact that a planning board member could not be on the same committee as another planning board member. There's Eric and Jane, both on this committee and on the budget committee, and they say he had heart failure for about 2 minutes. Because I called Gus well actually I called Joyce and she confirmed that that law had been rescinded and a new law had been pasted, so we're safe to be on the same board. The next is a letter to Helen Hanks, who is the vice chair of the Tilton Conservation Commission. I believe she's the chair now.
Yes.
Is she not? Okay. It goes back a long way to the Winnisquam development, and she had sent a letter to the Wetlands Bureau and the Shoreline Protection Bureau, and it's just saying that they represent her, and it goes back, and I found out it goes back so far as Sandy, when Sandy was the Gus of the town of Tilton. So this is here for you to look at. Again, the New Hampshire Municipal Lawyers Association, they have workshops, and Sandy and I went to several last year, and they're very, very good. This one is on cell tower sitting, siting, cable television, and right-of-way management. And it's sponsored by the New Hampshire Local Government Association, but it's run by lawyers, so if anybody's interested, these don't look as interesting as the ones we went to last year, but
Right.
that's here for you to look at. This is a driveway permit that says your tenant at 504 Laconia Road has informed District 3 that she's reopening a restaurant at that location. That's where Nick's old restaurant was, the Thirsty Crow.
Right.
Remember Lenny Burke had talked with us about that? And this is just basically from the Department of Transportation saying that they will have to put in a third driveway and that they will have to have a left turning lane, which we had talked about when we met with
Right.
Lenny. So they are saying that that is going to be needed, so they've received that letter.
Have we heard anything, Gus, from Lenny or anyone as far as?
Lenny has met with DOT and with publics, and with DOT per DOT has to move a power pole in the front, back so many feet. It's gonna cost him $30,000 to move that back, plus another $3,000 for engineering. And I don't know where he's proceeding right now, but that's what he got from DOT, that he has to move that pole and put in the slither lane. So,
I drove by there yesterday, I noticed they were doing work in the restaurant area. So that made me think that they probably are proceeding with their plans.
yeah, he figured, he didn't even know what the paving was gonna cost, but he figured the whole thing would be around $50,000 to put that in.
This is a letter from the Tilton Board of Selectmen saying that before we make use of any legal services by going out to an attorney, that we check with LGC first. And it's signed by all the selectmen. I don't think we would be doing that anyway without checking. And Sandy sits on our board, so she would not permit us to do that, I'm sure.
I'm sure I'd remind you.
I'm sure she would. This again is just from the Department of Environmental Services, saying that the Department of Environmental Services accepted an application for the alteration of terrain for Winnisquam Village. And we did receive that. And they also have an application for the shoreline impact permit. So those two permits are in the hands of the Department of Environmental Services. All right, and that's all we have in the correspondence folder. As always, started that. But again, I would suggest that you read the town and city when you come into the office. Just take a look at it. There's always some very interesting articles in that. Okay, I'm gonna give this to Gus. Our first case tonight is, Planning Board Case 1114. It's a continuation of a conditional use permit for 570 Laconia Road. And, since the zoning board, we had referred Mr. Bernard to the zoning board, the zoning board's next meeting, will not be until April 17th. And so I believe that Mr. Bernard sent you an email saying he will
It's right
be
there.
with us on May 8th.
Well, he said he would not be here tonight and put schedule for
Okay.
the next meeting.
So we're going to continue this case.
Do we have to make a motion?
I have to make a motion that we continue the case, Planning Board Case 11-14, continuation of conditional use permit,
I'll second that.
What, they have to have a date certain.
May 8th,
I gave you.
The eighth?
May
Yeah.
8th,
At time?
6:35.
I'll second that motion. Oh, I guess he did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and our next case is Planning Board Case 1214, the site plan review for Lockmere Meadows Affordable Housing Phase 2.
These all okay right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Schuster. I'd like to introduce, yes?
Can we wait just 1 minute? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the application, as it appears to be substantially complete.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Miss my
Sorry.
cue every time.
Sorry about that.
I look for my X, I look for the light. My name's Steve Schuster, and I'm with the Lockmere Affordable Housing Limited Partnership. And with me tonight are George Hickey, our architect, and Erin Reardon from Novus, our civil engineers. And indeed, we're here for a site plan review for Phase 2. This is the Phase 1 project that we completed in 2010. And here are the 4 buildings that were in Phase 1 here. When we built this, we built the infrastructure for Phase 2, which is 19 units, meaning roads are done, sidewalks are in, the sewer and water were sized, the conduits are in, they cross all the wetlands crossings, there being 3 of them on the property. So a lot of work was done in anticipation of completing this project in our Phase 2. In 2011, we came before the planning board and we just did a little bit of housekeeping, and what we did is we condominiumized the site and we established the land unit A and the land unit B, and the rest being common area. That was necessary for us to be able to separate our funding and so on and so forth. And then, of course, that then brings us to tonight, where we can come in and speak about our Phase 2, 19 units in 3 buildings on the remaining part of the site up here that has essentially been prepared for development, and that it was treed and grubbed when the original site was done and stabilized, waiting for this time. What I'd like to do next really is hand it over to Erin and let her walk through the fine details of the plan, circulation, drainage, and all those technical aspects. And then, of course, we're all here for any questions you might have.
Hi, my name is Erin Reardon. I'm with Novus Engineering. We're doing the civil site design for the project. So what you're looking at is an overview of the whole parcel. These are the
Could we get the mic over closer to
sure.
her?
I don't know if it
I can speak louder.
I'll just bring it to the extent that,
Oh yeah, there's more, it's just kinda tangled up.
how's that? Oh, it's all of that?
Yep.
Oh, very nice.
I think you're all set.
Perfect.
Now, is that in the way of the board? Everyone can see fine?
Yeah, we have copies anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So this is phase one that Steve was talking about, and in our development, our proposal is focused on phase two. This is Lockmere Road. It's a one-way loop. I'm just gonna flip to a plan to show us a little bit better. So we're proposing 19 units in 3 buildings. There's 7 units in building 1, 5 units in building 2, and 7 units in building 3. We are required to have 2 parking spaces per unit, so there are for 38 parking spaces. We're providing 38 standard parking spaces as well as 8 ADA accessible parking spaces. And those are in 4 locations throughout the site, closest to the ADA unit in each of the buildings. As well as in building 2, the mechanical room is a little bit larger, that there's room for a meeting space, and so there are ADA accessible spaces to that as well. Lockmere Road slopes down at about 5%, so the buildings are terraced. And so the parking has been bisected so that we can provide a little bit more level parking. And also the sidewalks that run between all of the buildings are all fully accessible. So even, not just the accessible units, but every unit is fully accessible throughout. We're proposing to have 2 dumpsters, one for recycling and one for trash. Let me move on to the grading plans in a little bit more details. As Steve was mentioning, all of the infrastructure utilities were put in during phase 1. So the project will be serviced by municipal water and sewer. The sewer main is already in place. We'll just be making service connections into the manholes, as well as same thing with water. The water main is already in, was all in phase 1. We'll be making service connections. There will be a fire pump specifically for these 19 units. We're proposing to build that right here. These are 2-way traffic, so in the event that, because the loop is 1-way, we wanted to make sure that the driveways were 2-way. In the event that someone comes in looking for a parking space and these are all full, they're able to turn around and not have to go back around the loop. The stormwater is being controlled by multiple controls. There are drip edges around all of the buildings, and then all of the stormwater in the parking lots is being captured and collected and going to our detention pond down here. All of the drainage has been designed to meet the new New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain rules, both for control of stormwater and for treatment. And the design, if you go out there today, this has already been cleared and grubbed. We, though, have we modeled it based on what was there before, so a fully wooded site. So it's not controlling just what was there today. It's going back to that wooded condition and making sure we're not exceeding the runoff that existed then. So it's a more conservative model. We have applied for our New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit. The site will have 12 new site light poles throughout the parking lots. They're all fully downcast. We are relocating 1 pole on the street. I can put it with one of our driveways. I'll have this pole right here. And we also have a rather nice landscaping plan that should be part of your packet. The landscaping is designed to complement what was installed during phase 1. There are 58 new trees, as well as many shrubs and ground cover in front of each of the units.
What sheet is that?
L2,
L2.
L1, and L2. We wanted to make the drawings to scale that were readable and good for construction, so unfortunately it's on 2 sheets. So each sheet has a mirror, so L1 and L2 in this case There's a full planting list that describes the plantings and the size that they would be in the number. So there are 58 trees, and then even more shrubs and ground cover in front of each of the buildings. And then all of the other areas that are disturbed will be restored with loam and seed. The site plan application includes an erosion control plan. The other thing I wanted to mention was the plans that we submitted had shown a retaining wall, which is in the building setback. And we've taken a look at that, we've revised the grading, so we aren't proposing to have that retaining wall in the setback here. So we've been able to revise the grading in this area to eliminate the need for that wall. We don't have plans for you tonight, but we will be submitting plans that show.
What was the reason for putting this retaining wall in the first place?
The way the grading, let me go back over here. Much like the road slopes down about 5%, this whole area slopes down. And what we're trying to do is create relatively level parking, because you don't want your parking spaces to be as steep as that
Well, you've
natural
actually
terrain is.
changed the contour
Yeah, we're
above that
grading to make this
since
more level.
the other decision was made.
Exactly, so the buildings will shift just a little bit, the parking isn't changing at all, and so that way we're able to actually grade that instead of having a wall. But we still make sure that the drainage can get around those buildings. They're gonna be raised a little bit higher, and that was one of the ways we were able to eliminate that wall.
That detention pond is not there now, is it?
Detention pond is not there now, nope, that would be constructed. And it's also fully enclosed with a 6-foot high fence, chain link fence, and it would have a gate for maintenance. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or let George, you want to elaborate on architecture?
I'd love to.
Excellent.
For any of you who have been to Lockmere 1, I think it would be,
Want to put up links?
no, I was looking for, elevations. You know, it's always somewhat treacherous to be talking about architecture when you have the architect in the room, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So any of you who have been to see Lockmere 1, it's very similar. Karen, would you help me put this up? The first difference between 1 and 2, Lockmere 1 and 2, is Lockmere 1 were 4 7-unit buildings. And in each building were 6 townhouses and 1 single-level living flat. In this phase, we have 2 7s and 1 5, but as you can see, the architecture is very similar to phase 1 here. And here are the townhouses with the adaptable apartment attached to that. As Erin mentioned when she was talking about the grading and the fact that it isn't just a handicap parking space going to a handicap unit. We employ a concept of visitability so that anyone can visit anyone in the entire facility, go from parking lot to laundry rooms to mechanical to the neighbor on the other side of the project. And that including sidewalks and you know, so there are constraints in terms of how steep those can be, of course. So there's always a challenge in terms of getting the grading right on these. 5 unit, 7, and elevations. Townhouse, of course, is a 2-story building, and the end unit is a single story. All units are 2-bedroom, and that was determined early on, actually preceded my involvement with the land before we purchased it in relationship to the water supply. And so when this was designed, working with Lockmere Water District, that was one of the constraints that we had, and we sized our pipes accordingly, and all units are 2 bedroom. Recently reached out to all of our utilities, let them know it's our intention to come before you all and start to get involved, and so we're starting to get information from them so that we can respond to them as well. And again, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Is the intent to sell these units individually or to lease them or
These will forever be rentals.
forever be rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing I forgot to mention is there are no wetlands disturbance proposed as part of this project or buffer disturbance.
Is the electrical all gonna be underground?
Yes, in fact, it's under there now, and if it hasn't been run in a particular section, all the conduits are in, with the exception of what'll happen just outside the road surface, going out to the individual buildings, the next 3 buildings. But everything else is underground here.
What about snow removal? Where,
The site plan does show some areas of, for snow storage. And we purposely didn't put trees in a couple of the areas at the end of the parking spaces to allow them sufficient space to push snow.
I think one is here
Yeah, there's a little bit there
and here.
and there,
Yeah.
and then the other one as well. So we, these are 2 lots here,
Okay.
and then here. So we purposely didn't put trees there that would make it convenient, to push snow.
okay, dumpsters, there's only one dumpster for the second phase.
Yeah, there's dumpsters already in phase 1, and there's 2 dumpsters here. One would be, I don't know.
Recyclable and
And
one
the other.
regular
Yeah, the other.
asphalt, okay. Right.
Now, do those have fences around them?
Yes, fully enclosed and buffered.
Now, is there a playground with phase 1 already? I noticed
No.
that there is one,
No, yeah, right,
Okay.
and that brings up the point of, if you will, in the condominium, so the playground is being proposed down here, which is in the common area, because it's meant to be common to both phase 1 and phase 2.
okay,
And the idea, and again, if you ever get a chance to come in here, what this building here is, it's a covered building, partially enclosed on the ends, but open on the sides, and it's for, the mail is picked up there, and it's where the kids wait for the school bus. So what's envisioned here, because of the sidewalk system we have installed all the way around here, is that, somebody can go down and get the mail, kids can go down to the playground, or when the kids are waiting for the school bus and such, so, there'll just be the one playground for the project.
Now, is that playground fenced? I mean, it's getting down close to Route 3, eh?
Yeah, it's our intention to put a fully enclosed fence on that, yeah.
Is that wooded area in the middle? What's the intention for that?
That's has been from day one, labeled as conservation set aside, which was in the original permits, again, which preceded my involvement. And it is about 5.5 acres, and essentially it's wild. I've never been in there.
Haven't you?
No.
I drove around it today, that's why I'm asking about it.
Yeah, no,
I didn't
it's
realize until I drove around it that it's pretty much just simply a wooded area.
just the way it was.
Yeah.
There's water coursing through it. There's one brook that goes across this wetland crossing, goes through here, and goes through this wetland crossing, and goes out. And then, again, this is the 3rd wetland crossing, again, water courses through here.
And the pond area is off.
the detention pond.
Yeah, the
Is
new
there-
detention pond will be up here.
Is there any connection from that detention pond to any of the water runoff? I know it's a capacity that is
The
full.
outlet from that pond, will come out this way. We have built a level spreader, so it'll sheet flow over a wide area, but the outlet for that will continue, because that's what this water does right now.
Kids into that spot.
It goes to
Yeah.
that spot.
Okay.
And so that pond is designed to hold it back, so it's only flowing, not even at the rate that it's going today, but the rate that it would have left the site back when it was wooded. So it'll be detained for a
All
while.
right, is there any kind of a maintenance schedule that you've got in mind for the drainage on the property?
Yeah, that's one of the things that the new alteration of terrain rules really took a look at
Yeah.
was maintenance of
Yeah.
these. And so if you look at the plan, there's what they call a sediment forebay, and then you have the pond, because the pond's gonna probably grow, they're designed as wet ponds, and it grows some wetlands, you don't wanna get in there.
Right.
So there is a pre-treatment that it will be maintained, and the AOT permit does require that. So the document comes with maintenance, schedules and inspection reports in the back.
And how often will that maintenance be done?
It needs to be done semi-annually to annually, and some of it might just be inspection, it might be a couple of years before that needs to be maintained, especially if they do a good job. All of the catch basins have sumps in them,
Yeah.
which means it's lower than the invert out, so hopefully a lot of the sediment will collect there, and if you maintain those, it doesn't make its way down to your ponds, and it extends the life of your
Right.
pond.
I had a question about, you've got the dumpsters right in front of your retention pond, it doesn't show on that. And you did say it was fully enclosed, fenced in, is there
Fenced in and
also?
screened.
Fenced in and screened, but I'm kinda curious, at the base of that, if somebody were to throw any kind of, any hazardous material, then maybe they disposed of their oil, and they tossed it in there, if it were to leak, is there any kind of retainer wall that'll be installed to keep anything that may be hazardous from leaking from the dumpster area into that retention pond and then maybe therefore getting into?
Yeah, it's not designed with any kind of a containment, because it is open to the air, so you're gonna have storm water, and so it does need to drain out. It's not designed with any kind of a containment.
I just would not want something that maybe get inadvertently disposed there to leak into your detention pond.
Yeah, we could look at putting a source on behind, so at least it would keep it in that area, and then you could.
You can at least get to the other side.
Yep, exactly, and control it before it heads out. There's a really nice grass buffer, but certainly there's no containment specifically around the.
Just to keep it from going that direction,
It-
because the drainage does go in that
It does,
direction. even-
everything, the whole
even
site
from
heads toward
Yeah.
that.
Do they sit on the grass or do they sit
No,
on
they sit on a concrete pad.
concrete pad,
Yeah,
okay?
they'll sit on a concrete pad.
Now, just even a concrete.
A curbing
wall
around the
Yeah.
concrete,
around it, just so that
I
you
would
could
say a
direct-
curbing or something around the concrete pad would prevent that.
At some point in time, you still gotta get that
Gotta get the
rainwater out of
stormwater.
that, and, I'm not sure, I mean, certainly take a look at
As I
it,
say,
I
we
don't
can
know.
take a look at it. It's a waste management detail, so we could talk to them. I'm sure they might have suggestions as to how.
Well, at least
this
it
has been handled
could
in the
be
past.
designed to drain away from the detention pond.
Right, maybe you could set the concrete to where it would go a different
Different
direction,
direction.
instead of going towards the pond.
We can definitely take a look at that.
What about parking? It's 38 spaces. It seems like there's no overflow parking. If everyone's home and someone has company, there's
38 plus the 8. It's always a balance between building just enough and not wanting to build too much, because we don't want to overbuild, we don't want to build too much impervious. And that's one of the reasons why usually the ADA spaces are taken out of that count, and we wanted to make sure there was some additional spaces. So there's the 8 accessible spaces plus the 38 that are required by the zoning ordinance, so we're providing 46.
What's this? Just accurate. What's the solar? There's a solar array there.
Yes.
Is
Oh,
that
Steve,
okay.
I forgot about that.
Talk a little bit about solar. What we're intending is, we did a project up in Meredith, and when we came back into the project, after we received the grant, we put some solar panels up on the mechanical room to preheat hot water going into the boiler. For really the first opportunity that I've had so far, I'm actually putting it in the project, so I don't have to retrofit the project a year later if you can get a grant and such. So we couldn't put anything on the roofs here because the lay of the land doesn't give us the exposure to the sun. So if you put a standalone array, you can put it and aim it wherever you need it and wherever you get the most solar gain. So that's the intention here, is to do that. Right now, it's a blob on the plan. We're fine tuning that now. We're attempting to see, after we get all our drainage done and such, to see if we can actually maybe break it up and bring them closer to the mechanical rooms.
Did I see two, well, I thought when I was looking earlier that there were 2 places you might be putting those.
That we might, right.
Okay.
Let's see, let me get oh, well, I think I can just, so if we can get these this mechanical room here and here and here, if we could get an array in here, that would be ideal, because we could hit 2 of them. Right now, it's conceptual that we would have it down here, again, a big open space, and for those of you who've been to the site, sir, remember that big pile of dirt you saw out there?
Yeah.
That's about the approximate location for that array right now. Totally out there and south orienting, and it just works out great. So in this case, we're gonna do 2 things with our solar. We're gonna do preheat hot water to the boilers, which will help with hot water and heat. And then if we have more room left on the array, we would put photovoltaic, which will generate electricity, which will fire up our site lighting. Now, we're attempting, well, we're not attempting, we're about to pull a permit in Lockmere Phase 1, because again, we wrote a grant after the fact. We're going up and hopefully do a retrofit with those 2 components on Phase 1 as well. It's very exciting.
Does that mean that you'll have more environmentally friendly lighting, such as LED lighting or anything like that?
LED lighting in both instances, in the scope of work here, and in the retrofit on a grant that we received for Lockmere 1. So lighting LED, generate electricity for our common area lighting, street lights and things like that, and then the solar for the preheating hot waters.
So all your street light will be LED?
Yes.
Any more questions from the planning board?
This lighting will just be downcast, very similar to us.
Yeah, it's identical, and I think it's the same engineer. Yeah, same engineer who did it.
Well, I just know LED lighting is more intense, so.
Yeah, they actually did a
This is a light planning.
lumens plan in here to make sure that,
Yeah.
and so, given the new lighting that we're gonna be using, they've made that, adaptation.
How long is it gonna take for this?
I'm sorry,
How long is it going to take for Phase 2?
8 months?
Sandy, SL1 is, and SL2 are the lighting.
I think we did Phase 1 in 11? 10 months?
10.
Yeah.
In looking at, I'm looking at sheet C1 now, in the upper corner where your new development is going to be, there's a lot of those bunches of contour lines up in the upper
Over here.
right. That's pretty much representing the piles of stuff that's there now
Yeah.
and will be moved
It'll be moved, right?
Will be
when the
moving.
building's in.
Yeah, I mean, we had to, of course, we created that, but then we have to represent the topography as is.
Right.
And then once we have the topography, we can take off from there and do our grading from that. But yes, that, a fair amount of, what's that, Phil, classified as?
Structural.
Structural, so it'd be like under parking lots and things like that.
The proposed playground, will that have any parking?
No, it would be meant to, go down to get your mail or go down and wait for the bus, but no parking.
I mean, on a Sunday afternoon, if people are too lazy to walk, they're gonna park and then you're gonna create a,
Well, I suppose the case would be that, that would be the case, there is a pullover area next to that little bus station where you meant to get out of your car and go in and get your mail, so we're out of the travel way, and, but no, we're not intending parking on this private road.
Is there any way for us to encourage you to think about having some kind of parking down there? I'm just thinking in terms of situations like where kids might get dropped off from school and parents wanna pick them up and bring them home and that kind of stuff. Or people coming to visit who haven't been there before, a place for them to stop and get information about the whole area.
Well,
I'm just thinking of a convenience factor now
Sure.
for, that's going to happen,
sure.
one way or another.
Well, let's walk through it and see if we can sort of identify some of what possibilities we might have. This is the only section of road that is two-way right here. The rest of it is one-way circulation. If I was looking for parking on this site, but not a playground, that's about the only site I have. Right
Yeah, I
there.
see
And
that
it's a
now,
great
but I-
spot, I mean, it's level and flat and dry, and it was done in the first phase here. And, now, this is a private road, so I don't know if I cared whether or not somebody parked along here. And people could certainly get around them and go up and do their driving thing. This, at this intersection here, is kind of a natural, you know, you can certainly park in there and not be in anyone's way again. And again, nothing is posted in here. So that might accommodate it, and of course we have room enough for 3 cars right here in the pullover for where you stop and get your mail and such.
But the playground is mainly for the residents of the area, so
Right.
I would not think there would be a lot of
No, they could walk,
need to park there.
right, they could walk down.
Is there a rental site there? Is there a rental office or anything?
Oh, no, no,
Okay.
no.
That's kind of the thing, the direction that I was heading in, was
Yeah.
for a rental office type thing,
Right.
which was help to tie it together with
Sure,
the communication of the people living there
right,
with the community that they're going to relate to
right.
while they're there.
Yeah, well, you know, of course, this is all rental. We have some 230 units now. All of our rentals and all of our marketing, really, all of that is handled off-site by our management company, which is the Hodges Companies out of Concord, with the obvious exception of the day people are gonna come in and move in. Hodges comes up and gives them the keys and does all that work, but everything is really done off-site in terms of the business aspect of this. So, I mean, I don't know if it's meets what you're thinking, but there is opportunity to park down here, but I'm not so sure I really want to encourage
I
My
parking.
wouldn't want to
thinking
encourage
is simply that there ought to be a link tying the place itself to the operating function of the state, you know.
Like if there was a community building?
Like she was saying, a rental office,
Yeah,
essentially a place where somebody, let's say somebody from California that hasn't seen somebody that's living there for 20 years, and they come in and they want to find them,
yeah,
and they go there. There should be a place there where they could go in and say, how do I find these folks? And you know,
It's not condominiums.
It's not,
Right,
It's more like a subdivision
right,
with apartments in the subdivision. It's not,
yeah.
I
I mean,
don't,
visually it reads a condominium.
Yeah.
But it's not.
it's not,
The business model is a rental.
correct.
And, you know, we have our project sign out there, and then underneath that is for information, rental information, we give you the 800 number to call the Hodges Company.
Right.
So
Well, I
that
was
would
just
be-
gonna say, I think, unfortunately, it's a sign of the times today that generally if somebody comes in and asks for so-and-so where they're at, they're not gonna get it anyway, because of, unfortunately, the times we
one way or
live in.
another they'll get it, but
They should have it before they go in there.
I
Yeah.
just,
We'll search it, find it.
just a point.
No, I understand, and I really do think it's a sign of the times. I mean,
Yeah.
there aren't names on the mailboxes,
Right,
there's numbers.
yes.
you know?
Correct.
And, that's just the way it is.
All right, if there are no more questions on the planning board, I'm gonna open it to the public. Yes,
I have a question about the fire, apparatus that you're gonna have there. Is that a cistern that you're pumping out of, or did you create a cistern there?
It'll be created, it'll be a concrete cistern with a little doghouse on top, with a pump in it.
With a pump?
Yeah.
So it's like an on-demand kind of, if needed?
Yeah, it is for, if there were an event with the sprinkler system needs to go off, you've got that extra oomph and that extra time right there.
And those units are
All sprinklers, yeah. And when we did phase one, we worked with deputy chief, who's now the chief,
Right,
and we'll be doing the same on this one.
yes.
I believe the impact fee amendment number 1 was passed, correct, at town meeting?
yes, it was.
So is this phase 2 gonna be subject to impact fees?
I would say the methodology has not been approved by the board yet, or has been adopted, so that has to happen.
So they're gonna kinda slip in under the wire?
I would say
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, my reason for asking the question is, and I'm not trying to sound like an elitist or anything else, but
Right.
this is low-income housing. And the low-income housing in phase 1 has already begun to put demands on our welfare system in town here, and maybe even some other services, including the schools. So it's like, I don't know if we can absorb all of this and keep absorbing it.
Well, we pay taxes.
Yes, you do. But
I mean, we're a nonprofit, we don't have to, if you will, but we always pay our fair share of taxes.
well, as long as, you know, that does help. But as I said, we have seen an increase in demands for services from our welfare department, specifically from those people that are in phase 1.
Yep.
To the point where she was getting phone calls from southern New England from people trying to get her to pay their first month's rent and security deposit, which we don't do. But I mean, it was happening.
I'm not really sure that this is the forum to discuss
Well,
that.
maybe not, but it goes back to the impact fees.
Well, we can only do what we can do. I mean,
Yeah.
we're following the procedure that was suggested to us, and we've had the impact fees approved, but we still have to approve the methodology.
Do you know when that will, I mean,
Well,
how far
hopefully
out
later
that is?
tonight we will get to it.
So it's possible that you could have impact fees in place before the planning on this is completed?
I'll certainly look into it for you. I don't wanna say yes or no
No,
to,
and I don't intend to put you on the spot, Sandy.
Right. but we can certainly look at it.
Thank you.
There are other people in town who are asking the same kinds of questions, or have the same concerns, and it's real,
Yes, it is.
it's real, and it emphasizes the reason for the effort that's been put into
Right.
impact fees and that study.
Are there any other comments from the public? All right, then I'm gonna close the meeting to the public.
paper, see if I
Yeah,
have
that's
any
what
other
I'm going
questions.
to, there's the zoning board of adjustments,
Yeah,
variance.
Density.
new driveway curb cut, that was for the whole development?
Yes.
You apply for that?
Yeah, I think it, right on the top, it says the, 47 unit.
Yeah.
We actually, updated that. There was an original one when
Yep.
John had the property, and
Yep.
we went back to DOT, and actually, that's when we put in the, we widened
Yes.
right across there for left turning lane.
Yep. You're not gonna have any new signs in the development?
No new signs, no. We have the entrance sign, that'll be it,
Okay.
yeah, and there'll be no differentiation between phase 1 and 2 in there. And we don't even have to labor over a road name. That was one of the hardest parts of the project.
I can imagine.
Or did I mention that one of the roads was named after George?
Gus, did we ever get a copy of the condominium documents, recorded condominium documents?
I did not.
You said that the last time and I sent them again to you.
I haven't seen them. I don't know where they go.
Where
Well,
did you
one
see-
of them I brought to you hard copy. And
No, I don't have it. I don't have it, Steve.
No?
I went through it and looked again. I went online. Have they been recorded?
oh yeah,
Let's see, I went online and what they recorded under. Although I can't
Um,
print them because they're huge, but
no, but they would be Lockmere Meadows Affordable Housing Limited Partnership.
I can look tomorrow, but yeah.
Well,
Just
no,
give me
you
another
don't have
copy.
to look. I mean, I have it right in my office. I'll just get another copy and I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
This time I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I mean, I assume you'd like an electric copy as well?
No,
No?
a hard copy is
Just a
fine,
hard copy.
right?
I'll
Yeah.
make sure you have it.
So this would be subject to approval of finding that, the hard copy.
yeah, I've written it down.
Okay, you wrote down, all right.
Were they required at all did they see the Conservation Commission?
They haven't yet. It was my fault. I forgot to give the prints to them, but a whole set came in the other day. They do have everything in the, and they will meet with them probably, or Conservation will in the next meeting. maybe.
Okay,
I think that's what that letter to Helen Hanks
okay.
involves. And you say that you're not in any way disturbing the land.
You know, we're not doing anything in any buffers, we're not doing any wetlands disturbance or anything, so, I mean, it's always nice to go to Concom and, but, I suspect it'll be a fairly, simple review.
And has the fire department seen your new plans? for
They
the-
have them.
They have them?
Drop them off over there.
see, are we,
And you're writing up the conditions. What?
I'm just looking here at the, I was impressed with the way you handle the runoff in phase one. And I don't see evidence of the same kind of thing being done for phase two. And is that just simply something which we haven't caught up to yet, or?
Right.
Can I see it? No, phase two is actually designed to a higher standard, phase two than phase one, because of the new rules that the New Hampshire DES requires. So while it looks, it's a smaller area, all of the road was already in, but we are capturing and controlling and treating all of the runoff from the roofs, partly by the drip edges that you see around each building. In the parking lots, you've got catch basins, and then all that goes to that detention pond. That detention pond not only controls the runoff and releases it slowly over time, but it treats that water. So there's a higher level of treatment required now than previously a couple of years ago. So it's that one area.
So basically what you're telling me is that the consideration of runoff problems has been really studied and taken care of for phase two as
For
well as.
phase two as well.
Any other questions? I'd like to make a motion to I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan for Lochner Meadows with the following, phase two with the following conditions. All state, federal, and local permits and conditions imposed for each. Compliance with state fire codes and any fire department conditions. All building plans to be reviewed by the town code enforcement officer and the fire department. Town receive a copy of the maintenance schedule for the drainage to include the catch basins and detention pond. Copy of recorded documents, condo documents. Compliance with any conservation commission conditions. And you need to contact the sewer commission for your sewer hookup and whatever they're going to require you to do. And that is on Lochmere water?
Yes.
Okay.
I called Floyd today and didn't speak to him, but he'll get back.
So
I'll do the
then
same
I'll
with the
add that
sewer
to
department.
contact the water company for
Right.
whatever they're going to require you to do.
Right.
So unless you guys think of something else there.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Is there a discussion of that?
Could be.
We
somebody
can,
wants-
you want to discuss?
The motion is usually made and then there's this discussion that follows.
Not with the public.
Well, I'm asking that.
Well, that's up to you, you're the chairman.
What would you like?
I have an issue with the approving of this on these kinds of conditions.
Why?
Well, because they haven't met with conservation yet.
That's
They
why.
haven't
That's
met
why
with
it's one
fire.
of the conditions. We're not approving.
Why are we giving an approval ahead of that? I mean, why
Well, they
we,
have to produce these before they're gonna get a
Before we'll
building
give
permit.
It's
so
a conditional.
why don't you have them back and then approve them? Why are you approving them contingent on whether or not they do it? Are you
Why?
putting the cart before the horse?
No, this is how we conduct business under
It's
this
not
board.
really, they're required in order to get their building permit, they're going to have to produce all the documents that have been made a condition of approval. Like, they're not gonna be able to start until they get their permit from the state. There's things that they can't do yet until these things come in, and we're making sure that that they're compliant with all these things, and that we get copies of all these things before they're even gonna get a building permit to build.
But isn't your practice normally that they go before the Conservation Commission before they come to you?
generally speaking, but I also have put it that they've got to see the Conservation Commission and whatever conditions of approval that they would put on them.
Madam Chair, I'd like to go on record as disapproving of this site plan with the conditions. I think fairly certain that they should be required to go before the Conservation Commission prior to coming before an approval of the site plan. We've gone through this, and in the past practice, we have seen within the last 6 months, issues that have arisen with other cases that it's been contingent upon, and we're falling short of our own due diligence, and I think we should learn from that. I'd like that on record.
It's on record. All right, we have a motion on the floor. And a second. All in favor?
I'm kind of holding back. I don't see that we've put something into the motion that satisfies her requirements. In other words, we have, I just want to be sure that her objection is
She has to go on record as saying that,
is on record.
okay?
Yeah, and it will be in the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much. You have my checklist? I'll get it in, thank you.
Mister, it was strange not having you around.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can read it, if not. Okay. Town receive a copy of the maintenance schedule for the drainage to include the catch basin and detention pond. Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, Gus, I put your board in
Thank you.
your office there. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right, the next is a conceptual discussion with the board for the use of property at 293 Laconia Road. And I assume, sir, that you're here for that. Wherever you're comfortable. You
I'm
can sit-
comfortable,
You
right?
can sit right there.
Oh, cool, thank you. I'm John Santoro, and I currently have several different properties scattered throughout Tilton, and unfortunately some aren't paying, and I'm here to talk about the one which has been vacant for 293 Laconia Road for a while, and it's on, that's the white house. It was a single-family home. It was, I had a modular home company in there, and they lived and they sold modular homes on the side. And since that day, about 7 months ago, I've tried everything to try to rent this property. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to rent it. And now the insurance company is saying that you have to have someone there. So I'm trying to find a way that maybe possibly I could occupy it, because I can't even get insurance by me now. The insurance company, I didn't know that, it has to be occupied. I don't like it vacant, I just have not been successful. I've tried through realtors and I've tried on my own and, under what they're telling me for value. So, one of the properties I have is right next door, which is Winter Circle Auto Sales. And, it's, what I would like to do, not that I wanna start another used car lot, maybe an annex, I'm trying to find a way to occupy the property. And I have two possibilities that I could discuss. And, I don't want another used car lot, but I would like to display the cars, maybe can possibly supplement the income. And also do a few rentals, because inexpensive rentals are already, people have to go, they can't get rentals, they have to go to Concord to get them, and I have people daily coming in asking for rentals. I'm trying to find a way to occupy it, pay the mortgage, so I don't lose. That's how it comes down to. I have a health issue, so I'm not here that often. I'm doing a lot of traveling, and so I have a family member in Mass who would like to come up, and he says he'd occupy it, he'd stay at Beatty, and he'd also manage my other properties. And he'd be a living manager, and he wants to do, and I have my own banker's license, which I don't see a problem with, because it is currently, and it's active, and it's in good standards with the state of New Hampshire, and it's the full license that I've maintained, which I have a half a dozen banks or so that will give me the funds, will make the subprime lending. The people right now with the economy the way it is, there's more people needing help than don't, and they're having a hard time. In fact, some of your bigger dealers right here are the ones that have been giving us, because they're not improving on this. I have a situation right now that I can use that as a subprime lending, like a bank. Not gonna have many, probably have 2 or 3 people a day coming in and looking for, to get approved, and I can sell that to the banks. And I'm already approved with the state as I have my banker's license, and I'd like to do that in it also as well to supplement the income. You know, just from, you can get loans for people that you know, whether it's my car or anyone else's car. So, and it's approved with the state, so what I'm trying to do is occupy 293 Laconia Road and
So you would
get an
become,
insurance binder.
so what you're really asking, I mean, other than renting cars from this site,
I wouldn't use that building for that. I'd probably just display it, would be done on Winter Circle on the property. I don't wanna use that for that purpose. I need the land. That would help, the land, just display the cars the way it was before. Not many.
you had cars there?
No, the way it came all the way across. I never had cars there, not me personally.
Right.
It was a dog kennel, some woman.
I was gonna say it was a dog kennel
A
when
woman
I
lived there for a long
first
time,
remembered
and
it.
she had I don't know if it was a grooming or whatever. Oh, she had
I
it was
don't
a
think
dog
we're
kennel
talking
place.
about the same place.
The yellow place, 293, across from, the U-Haul place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, cause you said
was a
a
dog
white
kennel.
house, and I thought the house was yellow, that's the
Yeah.
one,
Oh, I thought I said yellow.
No, you
said
said
white.
white.
Yellow on the way.
it is yellow, right?
It's a yellow house, you're right.
But I don't,
U-Haul is Noise Road.
Yeah, well,
Well,
this
up in
side
that
of it,
area.
Catherine,
Huh?
this side of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right
there
next
was
to
the
what was
used store
Caravona.
place.
They had a big modular home,
Caravonas.
the
Yeah.
modular home,
It's not that far up.
That property?
the
Yeah.
modular home left. The
Yeah.
Homes out of Canada rented it, they stayed the day.
Yeah, I know the guy well.
Yeah, they got me
Trust
good.
me.
Yeah.
And it's a yellow
I
house.
know
Well,
well.
no, he wasn't the one you're mad at. Ken
Not
Holmes.
Not up there where you're thinking. Coming down towards, you know, where the kennel used to be, and they train dogs.
Right.
That's Yeah, that's the place.
Show her the picture, Sandy, that
I know
Russ
the
gave
place.
us.
That's the guy. They had him in jail, and then they let him go. Yeah, I know the place, that's the place.
It was like a modular
Who
house and a
was in
regular
jail?
house, and the
Yeah,
regular
the
house is
guy that
gone,
was
right?
selling
The
Yeah,
house
the
is
home.
precinct.
Right.
And there's a yellow house
That's
and
why
there
they
was a
just-
for rent sign on it.
Yes.
It sort of
I've
sits
been
out,
trying to rent it,
yeah,
but that
it
says
sort of
yellow
sits
house.
out in the
That's
open.
Been trying, they took the modular home and I've been trying to rent it since they took the modular home out. And, I haven't been successful. Now the insurance company says you can't even leave it. I never knew that. But you can't get a binder. The insurance company says you have to have it occupied. So, and I have a mortgage on it, so how do you get a binder? So I don't mind doing it. I know that the finance company would be, you know, smart. I should have done it a while. It just wouldn't help. I didn't want to, but I have a feeling that's gonna help me also.
So what you're asking to do is to display cars there, And then you're going to be your own banker for people who stop there
Right, I'll get them approved for financing,
to buy these cars.
for financing. Or if they buy my car or someone else's, I'll get them all loan approved.
So it's
Someone
like a
comes
buy
in-
here, pay here.
No, that's something I have a license for, I can do with my own property. This is subprime lending for someone, I'll put an ad, someone will answer the ad, or there'll be flyers and,
A
somebody will
JD
answer-
Byrider type thing?
Somebody will answer the ad, and they can't get approved at a local car dealer, and I'll sell it, and we'll get them approved at a place, and get them the funds operated, so we can get along.
Well, I guess all I'm going to say to you is, as you know, well, maybe you don't, we just had a town meeting.
Mhm.
And part of the town meeting was a vote on new regulations for the zoning regulations. And the town overwhelmingly made it, to where it's not permitted for motor vehicle sales and rental, or sales and installation of vehicle parts and accessories. Pretty much anything dealing with motor sales is not permitted in the zone that your house is in. That's resort commercial.
Even if it's I'm not looking to sell out of there, you're talking cars, it would be an annex to where I am, a display of cars. I'm not, it's not like a used car dealer coming in and selling cars.
Well, if you just wanna be banking there, I mean, I personally don't see why you need the cars there. If you're just
No,
gonna
I
be
was-
banking, you already.
I can do rentals out of there, but if you don't want the rentals, then I can't do anything about it, so.
Well, I mean, it's not
Right.
permitted by zoning, so this board
Even
cannot.
though I'm already grandfathered, I'm where I am now, it can't be an annex to my
Where
current
you
lot.
are now?
Right next door, yeah.
No, this is a
It's a
different lot,
separate property.
yeah.
I thought you could have an annex, and I could put in there, but, well, I have someone that's gonna come up, manage my properties while I'm
Right.
going through what I'm going through. I think you know a little bit about that, my help, I don't know, I think you did. But, and I definitely wanna get the banking going, and
Mhm.
that would supplement my incomes for just getting loans. It's a simple, easy, I already have the banker's license, and it's
Mhm.
in good standing with the state, so
Right.
they approved, and they'll let me do the financing. So it's an easy thing, I just take credit apps on the phone and things like that, and on the internet and stuff like that, that's about all it's gonna take.
Right, I mean, you already have a car lot over there, I mean, your cars are on that particular lot, I just, but to bring it into another lot in that district, especially after the voters have just already said, no, we don't want
I
it.
didn't know how, I can see another car lot, I thought I could just use it for displaying, or
Well,
doing a supplement on where I am already.
No.
No, that's just good. That's just good to hold it down. And what you're asking can be done out of any office, anywhere, I mean, even on the adjacent property. You
No,
don't
what
even
I'm
occupy this.
building is what I'm building is a finance company right there. It's gonna be, there's gonna be people on the phones, there's gonna be people, it's gonna be a full-time.
Which could be located anywhere if it's on phones and internet.
right.
And it
Well,
doesn't have to occupy this
No, there'll be
particular.
people coming in, there'll be 2 or 3 people or so a day coming in, there's gonna be there's a need right now with the economy the way it is.
Why do
There's a
you
lot of
need to
people-
park cars there though?
Oh, I thought it would be a nice way to supplement the income where I am now, I could also get the income there. I have the lot, maintain it, I just thought I could put cars there. I didn't know I couldn't put cars on the lot, so.
I think there's two different issues here, there's the issues of the banking office and.
That's easy, that's,
And then there's
I have
the
someone who's
issue
gonna
of
come,
cars.
they would stay there, they'll manage my 5 or 6 properties I have here.
Right,
They're gonna take care of everything, they'll stay there, they'll open up the, working hours, and they'll handle the banking license right there.
okay, well, when you're ready to do that, you'll have to come and do a site plan. So that
What do I do? This,
I mean, I know the building's already there, so it's not like you're building new buildings, but you need to do the site plan so that the board knows that, all of the state rules and regulations have been complied with, and, where you're gonna have your parking, just to show on your site, show
Yeah.
where your building is.
not many cars will be coming in and out,
Right.
a lot of it's done on the phones, and then they come in and.
You'll need a
But
driveway
still-
permit from the state
Yeah.
because you're coming off the
Yeah,
state
yeah.
road.
Yeah,
There's
you'll
still
have to
minimum
update your
requirements for,
permit.
to come before the board anyways.
So
the
someone
site
could
plan.
just guide me in the right direction, tell me what I
Yes,
need, and I'll.
if you come in during the
And I'll
day, you
have
can
it all
see that
filled out.
lady right over there, and she'd be more than happy
So I
to
have
help
to
you.
have the highway,
You have to get a DOT, the state, a DOT, updated curb cut for your property. And she can tell you where to call, or she might even have applications here.
Okay.
I don't have the application for DOT.
Well, she can give you a number to call so that you can
I
get that
just have to
information.
show that I occupy it, so I can get an insurance binder, so I don't know how long it takes, or can I go to them and with the deal, you know, how can I, move it along?
Well, if you come in,
Step one.
you gonna be here tomorrow?
No, I mean, is that something I mail or something I can
Lots.
bring to DOT or?
Ooh, April 23rd is, April 10th meeting is already passed.
Yeah,
It's closed
so it'd
last
have to be
Friday.
in May.
If you go to New Hampshire DOT website, you'll find driveway permits.
Yeah,
Okay.
just print
You
one
go
out.
down, you'll find the division, District 3, and it'll say driveway permits, you pull it up, fill it out. It's a state requirement, because it's a state highway.
Right.
So it's okay for me to do, not the, so no cars, but I can
Right.
do the banking in there, but I just gotta get these papers filled out.
Well, you
Correct.
have to come in and do
You have to
it.
come in and do a site plan with us, and we have to approve it.
Okay,
I'm sure your insurance company, if you told them your intentions, that you came
yeah,
before us
I'm sure I
tonight,
can just,
and that you're coming back, and that, you know, there's a certain procedure that has to be followed, I'm sure that they would understand
who's
that.
gonna do this? It's gonna come.
I would hope.
Yeah, I hope so too, but they want their binder, and I wanna see it occupied, they sent
Right.
someone down and it wasn't occupied, and that's what happened, so.
Cut up
The
some
next
windows.
meeting,
So when do you put me on the next meeting?
once you put in your application, then I can put you on the next meeting, which
Okay.
is, it wouldn't be until May 8th.
Wow, okay. Okay, so I think I'm all set.
And if you have any questions, if you come in, she's here
Yeah.
every day until,
1:30,
right after
1:32, yep.
Okay, thank you.
okay?
All right, can we take a break, just a stretch break before we
Sure.
start doing our rule?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Post,
Oh, post. Take the post
and I forgot
out.
my cell phone at home.
Would he actually have to
I know,
site plan
big
that
rope.
property for the business he's talking about, since it was used to, buy and sell mobile homes and financing was part of what they did there? Basically what he's talking about already existed on that site.
Yeah, I know it did, but the point of it is how do we make sure that everything is in the proper order?
But you can't just have somebody come in and site plan because you want him to. What do our regulations say that generates
Well,
an
we're-
update?
yeah,
Cause that was a commercial property
Because
with the
that
selling,
property-
I don't know
did.
how long ago it was a commercial property.
up until
Well,
It
last year.
hasn't-
A couple months ago.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah,
because
last
it's
year
been-
sometime that
It's
house
being
moved out.
presented as it was. I mean, you see what I'm saying, even though that business stopped a year ago, it hasn't stopped because they're actively trying to promote it as what it
Right.
was. And actually, they just sold the last one last fall, I think, the one that was there. But that property was in the practice of buying and selling and financing.
mm-hmm,
So to have them come in for a site plan, I mean, you gotta be careful, 'cause
yeah,
some people are pretty savvy, but it just seems if you don't have something in place that really defines when you come in for a site plan, you can't have them just come in on a whim.
oh, I understand that,
If he
but,
was changing the use completely,
Well, he's changing the use to financing cars
but
instead of selling
financing.
mobile homes.
Finance.
part of my, yeah,
it's
but
still financing,
Right.
they were generating loans and
And if-
financing
if
people.
we don't have a site plan and he starts displaying cars there anyway, what do we have to go after him with?
You can't put cars there,
I think there's a
Oh,
whether
I
you site
know.
plans or not, you
Yeah.
cannot put cars there
Right,
for show, for play,
right,
for display, for sale,
right,
whether you site plan or not.
For rent.
That's a code enforcement violation.
right,
Bingo.
yeah.
I mean, he's gonna have to update his driveway permit, the DOT will be all over him for that.
Yeah. Well, I guess,
What's the difference then between the DOT, I mean, you just use the reasoning that he's using the same business financing, which, okay, why would he have to go through DOT again if he's doing financing?
Because
Just-
it's
DOT,
a change,
the DOT has a whole set of regulations.
it's a change of business too.
Yeah, they've got it, and actually, that's kind of part of the new policy, what I'm hoping to do, but there's a whole section.
And that driveway permit could have been 15 years ago when a business started, and traffic and everything has changed since then, and they wanna take another look at it. So they have a different scope.
And they may
Usually when a
wanna-
business just changes hands, even if it's the same business, the state wants an update.
They may
Right.
So
want
if-
them to put in
Yeah,
a
but if it went from a dog kennel to
eventually they'll get one on the way they'll come.
They
real
got,
estate office, did they have to do a driveway
yes,
permit then?
they did.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, even
Yeah.
the building is.
And that's a
since it
good
was dog
example, if he was coming in here and saying, I wanna turn that into, I don't know, what's accepted now, an ice cream stand. That's totally a site plan, 'cause he's completely changing the use of
Right.
property. But see, DOT, they got a whole section on it. And that's not even half of it.
Okay. When it was site planned back in 2006, it was to add a modular home model to the site and use the existing building as an office.
Right.
So, but I don't find anything in here about the approval.
Oh, here it is. This is the DOT's
That's
policy for the
31 pages, isn't it?
driveway.
I read that.
Have you read this?
Oh, I got one too.
I didn't print it out though. Sorry. I would've saved the ink.
Yeah, I've been looking at this for quite a while. This is
Amazing.
quite a
Oh, here it
document,
is.
actually.
Here
It's
it
amazing
is.
what happens when you Google something.
Google is your friend.
I love Google. I said, it's a slow time of year at work, so I spend lots of time Googling things.
That site was, when it was approved, the approval is for one modular home with an existing building to be used as an office structure. So that existing building was an office in it. So if you wanted to use it for an office, you probably could, right?
Right. As long as he wasn't making any changes.
Right. So he wouldn't need the site plan?
I don't know. I guess,
But you still wanna know, I mean, if he's gonna be, even potentially parking a car there, or 1 or 2 cars a day, or any kind of signage, or anything like that, we still need to know his intentions are.
Right.
All I've seen it as is
lawfully.
a house for rent. It was a, I didn't know it when it was, they were selling mobile homes out of it or whatever they
Not
were calling it.
modular.
Modular homes. I saw it as a house for rent,
That's
which
right,
is what
hold
the
up.
sign's been on it.
Something here was the last meeting, project's not subject to any site plan review.
well, we haven't adopted those yet.
Oh.
That's on our agenda next.
Oh, I thought that was something we.
You have to
last
go
time.
like Gus did to the site plan for the property, what was it,
Right.
Sears? And as Gus
And
said,
actually, yeah,
They didn't-
if
yeah, they
it's
had
as
one
an
on
office.
display, and it was an office,
Right,
and you
then
went
you
into
can't
that
make it
office,
residential.
and
We
they said,
did
I
it
wanna
last
buy
time.
this, and then
Huh?
they
I thought we
would
did
create the
last time.
financing for you.
Would they,
So-
as I recall, there's no sign there now, wouldn't, if they put up a sign, wouldn't they have to site plan just for that?
No, they'd have to follow your sign permit.
They'd have to
Sign-
they'd have to get a sign permit.
Yep, they'd have to get a
Oh,
sign
Sign
permit and
permit,
follow
yeah.
the zoning.
Yeah,
And is there a driveway in there? I don't know.
It's just
Yes.
dirt
that
off
would
of
be
it,
the
but-
same,
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
under DOT's jurisdiction and not the
Yeah.
town's.
right.
When you,
What he's asking
when
for
you
can't
passed
be
him
done.
that information, you were just FYIing him, oh, by the way.
And this person
You
was
better
to
talk to the
update,
state.
a driveway curb cut
Yep.
in 2006, so I could go look at that. So,
Well, you'd still have to update it, cause it's
Right.
a new business.
mhm.
Maybe finance, it may be similar to what was there, but they still wanna know. It's not the same as it was, the name that they have on their permit is not gonna be the same.
That's right.
Right.
Then if
So
that
it
name
still has
changes,
to be
DOT's
updated.
gonna say, whoa!
Yeah.
Okay, how do we make sure that all of his banking credentials and everything are in order and that,
Is that a job of the planning board?
Mm.
That's a job of the state banking
Yeah.
licensing, that's not our
Yeah.
job. It's not a requirement of any zoning we have.
oh, no, but I just mean as far as any conditions of the site plan would include all copies of all documents required in order to do that function on the site.
And it's,
Yeah, but can
I'm
we-
sure your site plan there that you gave for the previous one says to comply with all state, local, and federal?
Yes,
It's in compliance with state fire codes and any recommendation made by the fire department, compliance with the Tilton signage regulations.
yeah,
All exterior lighting to be downcast, update driveway curb cut and provide a copy of the town. And it is approved for one modular home with existing business to be used as an office.
So we really don't have
But
call to
at the
say,
time, it
give me
was
your
a
license,
sales
your
office.
banking license.
If you read the minutes, it's.
But there's nothing in your zoning that requires him,
Oh, no.
requires you to oversee
No,
state licensing.
Oh, no,
We don't
we're
license
not
banking,
overseeing
so-
them, we're just making sure that they did what they were supposed to do with the state, that was all. Not that
But
we're
that's
gonna
not
that's
our
none of
oversee.
our
job.
business.
You have to be careful because, you don't wanna get into a litigious situation.
Oh,
Like I
no,
said, this guy probably is just gonna do whatever you want him to do.
Well, there could be a change in traffic flow, an increase in parking demand.
We
Because
don't
they
have
had-
any parking
Um,
regulations.
Because he had, this one it had the 35-foot driveway with parking on each side.
mhm. Well, I mean, it's really up to the board, if they don't wanna, if we don't have to site plan, then we won't site plan, just make sure that he has everything in order before he gets his, cause he's still gonna have to register his business,
Yeah, with the town.
and he'll have to get a CO,
And the
that's
sign permit.
required now. And whatever sign he's gonna put up.
I think it's very critical that you get your, like Eric just found, what requires
Yep,
a site plan revisit.
Do you know what's going on with the windstorm wood yet?
and do Winnisquam what?
Wood?
No,
Oh,
nothing's come in that I'm aware of. Have you had anyone talk to you about Winnisquam Wood?
Winnisquam Wood? No.
Yeah.
What's Winnisquam Wood?
Place on,
Be careful.
across from McDonald's, Burger King,
On 140,
yeah.
Nothing, huh? Why?
Cause they're not,
They sold it.
they sold it.
they sold it.
Really?
Mhm.
No, I didn't know that.
When did that sell? Must have been recently, she hasn't got the
I haven't
keys
seen
yet.
anything, but if the,
There's a place right
I
now.
just found out today, when we went to the fire department and Brad was talking about they had sold it.
Mhm.
That's when I found out.
and that's on Tilton.
All right, the next order of business is, what we're just talking about. Projects not subject to any site plan review. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
Which one?
This is,
That was from the last time.
from last time, remember, I had asked, I was confused about what needed a site plan review and what didn't. And, we had someone come in who was establishing a business where there'd been a business like 2 years ago. It was a retail business, but it was, a site plan was required. And I didn't understand when a site plan was required or when it wasn't, so we came up with these different, Sandy had come up with these two sheets, and we were gonna discuss it in this meeting. What Eric just referred to, that we talked about. And I think, like I look, a change of use, it says here, a change of use review shall be based on the following. And we could take the one that just came in, where we told him he had to come in and do a site plan, does he really need one?
Right,
Okay, and look at all of these questions. Has
Yep.
a site plan ever been done on this property? And it has,
mm-hmm,
okay? Does the proposed activity reflect the nature of the existing or former use?
yes.
And yes, it does.
Mhm.
Is the proposed use different in character, nature, and kind from the existing use?
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not really.
No. Sorry, I was
If they
on the
finance,
radio.
if they financed, modular homes, he's gonna be financing cars. So it's basically the same. Is the proposed use having a substantially different impact on the neighborhood? No. any change of use which in the opinion of the board requires planning board approval in order to ensure the health, welfare, morality, integrity, principles, and safety of Tilton citizens, no.
I was gonna say, there's been some changes, a few changes made to this. I had Catherine Dawson look at it as well, and she made a couple suggestions.
Okay.
So, you know, like the statement you just read, any change of use which in the opinion of the board requires planning board approval in order to ensure, if you take out everything and just say the safety of the Tilton citizens,
Okay,
because the rest are really
to
kinda
ensure the safety of the, okay,
the citizens.
I like that morality part.
Oh, I know, but that's kinda subjective, isn't it?
I'm sitting here thinking, should it say morale or morality?
No, I think,
In other words, no topless bars or something.
yeah,
And then if you go up a
Only
little
in
bit,
industrial.
you go up a little bit in where it starts, in instances where a change of use is questioned, right after question, you find where I'm at?
Yeah.
If you put by the planning board as to whether, so that you know,
the change of use is questioned by the planning board?
yes. I mean, if you like the changes, obviously I'll send them to Gus and she can.
I don't know.
And the only other thing she suggested, which I was not successful at, and that is defining what change of use is. There is a very vague, a lot of people talk all around it, but they don't tell you what it is. So, what I did find, I'm just looking for it now. Anyway, what I did do is on these things where it's talking about projects not subject to site plan review, like down at the bottom here where it says proposals submitted for change of use review, I changed that to say proposals submitted for site plan review.
Where is that now?
Page one.
Down at the bottom of page 1, you see where it says proposals submitted
Yeah.
for change of use review.
Yeah,
I just changed it to say proposals submitted for proposed site plan review. You know, just to see whether or not they would require a site plan. And just removed, because you can say any change of use, and in that particular case, you might say, you know, from, say, sales of shoes to sales of furniture, or from retail to, say, a restaurant, whatever it might be.
you know, the questions I had about the one that we had,
Yeah,
it was a retail store
right.
and it's a retail bakery, you know, what, you know,
But the thing of it is in that particular one, if we're talking about the same one, that had not been site planned before,
okay. All right.
okay?
Yeah.
It now has been, we have a good layout of what's there,
Okay.
and she has the approval of what's there, and the fire department has approved of what's there, so everything's been taken care of. And we know that everything is functioning as it should. So anyway, if there's, as far as the project's not subject to any site plan review, I can simplify this a little bit. It would seem to me like anything that is going to, and this does talk about it a little, anything that is going to change the structure in any way, or a change of use as far as what's there now compared to what wants to come in, they're different. And I mean, we just have to say retail's retail, and so they're not required. You have to be careful with that, because it can be changing the building so much that we wanna know that it's been inspected, that it's going to be structurally sound when they get through with it. Are these people, one thing we found up here, and with the help of the fire department, we were able to get rid of a lot of this, is people would come in and, they were doing their own electrical work, even though they would come in and make it part of the permit that an electrician would. But, you know, then when we would go out with the fire department and the electrical engineer inspector from the state, all of a sudden these people were, you know, shut down because they weren't doing the proper things. So this is part of the whole operation, is if there's no site plan and somebody goes in there and he's got a building permit to say, just put up one wall or whatever, you wanna know that now, of course, we have the CO required on everything, not just new buildings. So this gives another opportunity for the fire department to go in and make sure that it has been done properly. You know, and of course, Al can go in now because they're both part of it, so he would go in as well. And, you know, he can demand, well, who was the electrician that did this wiring? Is that the same guy that you got the permit? You know, now he has a whole separate permit for just the electrician and one for plumbing, so. So you can relax it a little bit that way, I guess, but I still think, you know, it's really in what the board is wanting to see. Who do they want to come for the board? You know, how much are you willing to allow to happen without a site plan? I guess that's really the question.
And this man who just came in could say, I don't know what the hours of the other operation were, but if he's gonna be selling cars and financing cars, people are gonna be looking at cars at night. So he might have later hours. We don't know what he's gonna do about exterior lighting. I mean, there are changes that could be done that we wouldn't have a chance to ask him those questions, because right now it just looks like a house sitting out in the middle of the land.
Yeah,
So those are questions that would be answered in the site plan.
right.
What kind of proposed signing does he plan to have? You know, is he gonna change the interior in any way? And how many people is he gonna have working for him? He said he was gonna have somebody managing it.
Right, all of his properties from
Yeah.
that location.
There's,
So, you know, I think there's a lot of things that could come up that we might have questions on. How
Well,
do how does the other
no, I think
board
that
members
needs a
feel?
site plan. I agree, I think that needs a site plan, it's just, you know,
Can I comment? He has an existing site plan in place. Would he not have to comply with that site plan and not deviate from it? If he did, it would be a violation, that the code enforcement officer would be out there visiting him.
There
And the
is an
site plan-
existing site plan, it
That's
was
right,
not
and it
his.
says,
but it wasn't his.
It was
but
not
it's that
his.
property, the site plan is with the property. If I buy an existing store, do I not have to abide by the site plan for that property? Because the site plan isn't for the person, it's for
Right.
the property.
Correct.
Right.
What are you doing for that property? You're gonna do this, you're gonna have downcast lighting there. You're gonna have, cause that's what it said, you're gonna
Right.
have this kind of sign. If he wants to deviate from that site plan at all,
And
now
then-
that generates a RIA.
But there's
a
no
new-
sign there now.
But he has to abide by
He'd have
whatever
to
that
come with
site,
the sign
existing
permit.
site
Yeah,
plan
to
said is a
signage.
sign. He
Yeah.
can't change it, he can't make it larger, he can't deviate from it without revisiting you.
Right,
So when you look at what you're suggesting, you have two things. A whole new site plan for a property that's never site planned, you've got
Mhm.
those regs.
right,
Now, what generates a, a revisit to the site plan? For him, for this guy, for example, he has to abide by that.
right.
He can't make any changes to it. He's gonna have to come in. So you have something in force.
Right.
Right now,
It's there,
it exists.
and the only way he would, necessarily have to come in is if he wanted to change what's there. I mean, if he wants to put up a sign, then he's gonna have to come in and get a sign permit. And of course, it's got to be according to our zoning regs, as far as signage goes. He can't just put up a sign, they're now requiring permits for every sign that goes up. And she's right, if she buys a grocery store and moves in, as long as she's running that grocery store the way the other one was run, there's no problems. But if she decides to move walls around or redo a parking lot or expand the parking lot, then yes, then she has to file an amended site plan and come in. So, you know, and it's still really, it would be up to, if he doesn't call, if somebody goes by and sees something going on, then, you know, they have to let Gus or Al know and say, hey, do you know he's doing this?
What about his original idea that he could just move cars?
You can, yeah.
Well,
No,
you
no, but
can't
I
do
mean,
that,
if,
yeah.
I mean, if, you know, he just said that it's gonna do what he's gonna do, and then,
That would
You
be
mean-
code enforcement officer
Yeah.
to be up
Mhm.
there and say, you can't do that.
Yeah, so if he had permanently parked cars in his parking lot,
well, I mean, I wouldn't know the difference driving by between a rental car and a
Right.
car for sale.
But he can't rent them either.
no,
So any cars that are in line.
Right, but he was
that
under the
is
impression
locked-
that because he had two side-by-side lots, that he
That he
could,
could.
right.
Right,
Well, they're actually not side by
No,
side,
they're
because
not.
there's another piece in between.
There's something in between them.
That place that's doing the wood.
Chimolana.
Yeah.
Tractor.
Well, that's
No,
his
Chimolana's
property
on the other
too.
side.
Yeah, no, that place
The
is doing the
place
wood.
that's doing wood is his place too.
Right, I know, but there is,
but I think he's thinking that, well, okay, it's just,
Yeah.
it's,
It's all one big piece of
One-
property, I
yeah.
can do
but they,
whatever.
but they aren't their lot.
Between.
now that you said that, I visualized.
Now you know
I
what it
couldn't visualize it, but
Yeah, you got it all.
I missed the wood.
Yeah, I thought the
Yeah.
wood thing was on the other side.
No,
Right, no.
it's Winter Circle, the wood lot.
So anyway, it's really, you know, if you wanna go that way, then, you know, when he comes in, Gus can tell him that we talked about it and he's not required. But she can also give him a list of the conditions on the approval that was given.
And the paperwork that he
Yeah.
needs to do, comply
Right.
with now,
Right.
signage and,
Right.
the new business form, and make sure that he has to have a CO and
Right.
inspection before he opens an office.
With signage inside of his window
Thinking I'm
constitute
sorry.
something, I don't know. You know, if he put
Mhm.
Something in the glass,
something in the
Yes.
glass.
the signage.
I thought
That,
there was
that
a
falls
rule
under
now.
the, wouldn't that fall under the rule about signage on the facade of a building?
right.
Yeah,
Which
Right.
is no more than
10%.
10% of the
Of the
total
facade.
square foot area
Yeah.
of that
but I also
facade.
thought we had something that says you couldn't put a sign in the window. You couldn't cover up glass.
I know downtown you can do something on the glass, but I'm not sure.
Well, I remember like,
Well, you
The
can't
real
have
estate office
bright
that's up here,
neon
she had a
signs,
sign
I
that
don't
said
think,
yes, we're
flashing
allowed
lights.
The real estate
I
office.
thought I
Judy
read-
Tilton's office up here, what she
Ah.
had up there, inside there was a window that was illuminated, a sign that was inside that was illuminated.
Yeah, one of those
Mhm.
neon signs.
No, it wasn't, it was just
No.
like a, one we could change the letters around and.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have that out here on the monument, change the signs. You have a permit for that, Catherine?
That's temporary.
We're immune,
Mhm.
we're immune.
Oh yeah, here it is. Wall signs located such that any part thereof covers, obstructs, or is placed over an existing window. This is signs prohibited under this ordinance. Or placed in the sills of the first level of windows above the first story on the same wall. Or signs placed more than 25 feet above grade, except that may otherwise be allowed where a conditional use permit has been granted. So, I knew I'd read something about windows covering up signage and
Yeah, and
windows.
it came up when we had that driving school, remember?
Mhm.
It came in,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen him have any business, by the way.
Oh, he moved.
He moved
I was gonna say, he's not there, is he?
to the
No,
spa,
he
he's
had-
down by the
had a-
spa place.
Yeah, he went down by the
Place.
spa,
Mm.
Oh, okay.
and only because the people next door to him wouldn't have a fit if people parked there to pick up their kids. So
Oh.
finally said, can't do this.
Okay.
And he
Alright,
might go out of business because the state's gonna let, if they don't let them do it along the line.
yeah,
God bless us.
All right, does
everyone.
anybody have any other comments to make
Do you have
about,
any suggestions or anything?
any other changes other than the ones
Yeah.
that Catherine?
Otherwise, I will get
suggested?
this, ready and send it to Gus, and we can have a public hearing on it.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the next thing we have are driveway fees.
I just have one question.
Mhm.
We were talking about Mr. Sim, whatever his name was, JJ. Does he have to site plan or doesn't he? What am
No.
I going to do? No?
No,
Okay,
but he needs to be in compliance with the site plan that exists for that property now.
Right. And if he comes in, you can give him a copy of the original, the condition of approval at the time. And just let him know he's gonna need to get a CO and, register his business.
okay.
And the driveway update on his driveway.
Because we have to let the state know.
Right.
All right, did everybody, you sent a copy of this to everybody like that?
I did.
Everybody have? You should. I've got an extra one, so you can have
Yeah,
that.
that was sent out a while back.
Okay.
Oh, and I made copies for everybody.
Hmm?
Jane, I made extra copies so you can pass out in case people didn't have them with them.
Who does not have theirs with you?
They're, I made
Mine
copies
just
for
didn't have the
everybody.
logo on top for whatever reason.
Hmm?
Mine didn't print out the logo, but it's the same.
Oh, but I
These
had,
are the ones that Gus made tonight, I don't think my original one does either.
I made up a bunch for everybody, so in case people didn't have them, I'd have them.
I'll take one, I don't think I have one with me.
Jane,
Hmm?
Rich needs one. That was sent a while, a few weeks back.
It's probably my black binder, which is my car.
You want one?
We took my car.
Oh, that was helps.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually something I do.
All right, if, apparently, either people haven't had a chance to look at it, or didn't look at it, or whatever, wanna take a few minutes and look at it now?
Okay?
How long ago was it we got this?
It was a, couple, well, we wanted to have it,
We were gonna have it at the last meeting,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't get out in time.
well, actually, we wanted to have a public hearing on it tonight, but that, we
It didn't get
decided,
out in time.
didn't get out in time, so we're reviewing
Yeah.
tonight.
What is the state's all-season state, site distance now?
400 feet.
What?
pay particular attention to the very last page, too.
Which part are you on? The application?
Definitions or,
No, not the application,
There's conditions for
the
construction.
conditions for construction, and then the next, you've got the driveway definitions,
Yeah.
and then the Tilton Planning Board shall adopt, the very last page. Everybody had a chance to look over? We'll take them piece by piece, I think,
Yeah.
okay? The first one is the Town of Tilton Public Works Department driveway permit. I think my comments on it is that I think it looks pretty thorough. The only thing I would question is the actual amount of the fees. Anybody got any comments?
Where are these fees from?
These are
Okay, so-
suggested fees. I had Gus call around in some other towns just to give you an idea. I don't have a problem with the fee as such, but I just, $75 seems like a heavy fee. Canterbury does not have a fee at this time, but they are considering having one. So that's a town near us that's considering having one. Ashland charges $25. Now Ashland's a town similar, I think, in size and all to Tilton. And they presently charge $25 for a driveway fee. Center Harbor, another town very similar to us, charges $50 for a driveway fee. Boscawen does not charge anything for a driveway permit or fee. Newbury, which is Sunapee, we weren't able to get in touch with them.
their office was closed when
Their
I
office was
called,
closed,
on
okay.
Tuesday at noon.
Whoa. Northfield does not have a driveway permit fee. Belmont charges $20. Whether it's new or paving a driveway. Bob Warden in Sanberton said that they don't charge for a fee, but they're looking into charge to offset the cost incurred by the personnel and the mileage to go and view the driveways. Now, that's one of the reasons that I think that we should look at a fee. It does entail our Department of Public Works Director, Dennis, to go out and look. And on many occasions, he has to make more than one trip. So that's why I think the fee is reasonable. What are people's ideas about the amount? Now, Catherine, I know that you, if I can ask you, came up with these fees. Was there a reason you came up?
Laconia charges $75, Hanover charges $75, Rye charges $75, and there's 3 or 4 others that charge $75. And at first I thought, oh, it's too much, but after I wrote it, using all of these, which I have copies of, other regulations, and I had a conversation with Tim, the road agent, Dennis, cost us approximately $48 an hour. It's probably a little more than that, but, you know. He is definitely, if you read the application, he's gonna be required to go out there a minimum of twice. You've
He
already
has
lost,
all along.
you've already lost money. That's now costing us money. My feeling is it shouldn't cost us money. He's definitely gonna go out there twice. So, if we set it at $75 and he goes out there first and looks at it and says, okay, you've gotta do this, you've gotta set the grade, blah, 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 blah. Then he may send somebody under him to make sure that they have complied with these things. Then we're probably gonna break even. That doesn't, remember the $75 doesn't include any of the handling in-house. Duplications of these permit fees need to go to the planning board, they need to go to code enforcement, they need to come to the selectmen. So, having said it shouldn't cost us any money, at $75, it's probably gonna cost us money.
I'd be curious with the numbers you're saying about, some towns at 35, some towns entertaining it, some towns not having any.
Right.
How long ago did they impose these fees? Would it be something that they would revise because they're 5 years old when they implemented it or more?
They didn't say that.
Right, so, it's like, did they do this 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago? And have they analyzed any expenses incurred necessary? So I don't think 75 is unreasonable in light of Catherine's comment.
The state of New Hampshire doesn't charge anything for a permit on a state road.
They make one trip,
Yeah, and they tell you where it's gonna be.
they tell you where it's gonna be,
Yeah.
that's it. They don't see
Are
you
you
again.
paying Dennis already? I mean, it's not like he's going out after hours, he's gonna get paid whether he's inspecting someone's driveway or
That's
he's.
true, but he's not doing other things that he should be doing. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, that's
Well, one of the
$75.
things he needs to do is inspect driveways, right?
Right,
It isn't covering anything else.
Hmm?
he does now.
This
Yeah.
is what he enforces.
Yeah, but he still goes out, he looks at the site, he looks at the site distance.
Sometimes, I had that conversation with him.
Well, he always
If
did
he
when I
knows
worked
the
there.
property,
Yeah,
I had the conversation with him, he told me he went out sometimes twice for it took him about half an hour.
right.
sometimes, yeah. If he knows the property,
And he knows that somebody's paving their driveway, or repaving their driveway. The question is now, if it's permittable, then you know that it's being done. If you don't, if it's not something that's subject to permit, then they just do it without saying, hey Dennis, can you check this out? We have a circumstance on where I live, the house beyond me repaved about 6 years ago. And the water's now flowing down into my basement rather than down the street where it should go, and nobody's gone out to inspect that. And that was just repaving. So if we had this in place, they would have had to get a driveway permit. Dennis would have gone out and said, okay, we should, bank it this way, make sure that the water flows in the direction of down the side of the road, and off it goes, and we're safe, good to go. And the grading would have been done properly.
Well, I don't think anybody has a problem with him going out. I mean, this is something that, and even requiring the permit. I guess my only problem is with the cost of doing it. I mean, if somebody comes in, and I don't know what a building permit costs today, if they're putting up say a $300,000 or $400,000 house,
We just had
no,
those,
the planning board needs to look at those and
they
then,
have to
Yeah,
approve
we
it,
had
and it
these.
has
then
to
they
come
send to the selectmen for
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah, that's coming up too
that's
tonight.
gonna be on,
Yeah.
that's on,
You have to remember too, if you look at this, most driveway permits don't involve just the driveway, especially in town. They're gonna involve the sidewalk.
right?
And we just had an incident up here that, it was DOT permit though for the hairdresser when they came out the other way. And Dennis was like, there was nothing in place to require them to make sure when they came through with their driveway, that the
Right.
grade matched the existing sidewalk, so when he
Right.
comes through with the plow, he doesn't all of a sudden have to run into a driveway and then oops, go over the driveway on the other side. So that would take a third inspection.
Right. Well, I have no problem with
So-
requiring permits.
And yes, we do pay, we already pay them, but we're adding on more responsibility and more duty, and, you know, how many times can you say, well, we're already paying them anyway, so let's
Well,
add
I-
on this and
Like health
let our
inspector
taxes
issue.
take it?
Well,
You
no,
know?
I don't know, I just see that if you're paying, I mean, we don't charge someone if they get arrested. The job of the police officer is to arrest somebody.
Of course we do.
No, but you,
We
but
fine him.
you find them, but
And then
that's
we get
usually
monies
set
from
by
those
that's
fines.
usually set by a bail commissioner.
The fines?
The fine
No,
is
this is
Well-
set by statute.
Okay, you find them, but it doesn't come back to that police officer, it doesn't come back to Dennis. Maybe I used a
Comes
bad
back to the
example,
town.
To the town.
but you know, they plow the roads. You know, if they come at 8 o'clock on Friday morning to plow the road, there's not an extra fee. I guess I have a hard time collecting a fee for something that, I guess if we were doing it after hours, I would say that would be okay. If Dennis had to go
Then-
somewhere on Saturday,
If you take that mindset, why do we charge for building fees? We already have a code enforcement officer. Why would we charge for building permits?
I think you're.
Why do we charge people for, when they come in for copies, if they want copies or something? Why do we charge for any of the charges that we
Well-
have? If you take that mindset, well,
Well,
they're already getting paid.
I guess I
You
have
have to
a,
remember, they're getting paid to do a specific job. They're getting paid to take care of our roads, they're getting paid to do our cemeteries, they're getting paid to, I mean, there's so many things that they do. And now we're adding on, okay, now on top of this, you're gonna go do this, this, and
In other
this.
words, a job
What if it
description
starts
says
generating
A, B, C,
overtime?
D.
let me give you a personal example.
We're adding E, F, G, H.
Because my first year living in the town of Tilton, my driveway was dirt. Okay, it was some pavement there, and at some point, a couple years before that, they repaved the road. And the way that the road was paved, it causes the water to drain across my driveway. And I was gone for a week. I came back and I pulled into my driveway, part of the road, and my driveway collapsed under my car. Okay, it was a sinkhole. And I called the highway department, asked Dennis to come out and look at my driveway because I thought it was the fault of the way that the road had graded, the town had graded the road. And he didn't give me the time of day. So, I took it upon myself, and now I guess I should have had a driveway fee, but I had to go I had a new driveway put in. I spent $5,000 or $6,000 to put a new driveway. Because I didn't want that to happen again. I still have issues with the way that the road is graded, when they test the fire hydrant, and I guess, so I guess I'm a little jaded in that aspect. Well, okay, now we're gonna, because we collect a fee, he's gonna come out and look. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's a little jaded for me, I guess, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is our current driveway
No,
permit. Doesn't require him to do anything,
That's right.
Yeah, but he still went out and he made sure that
Not
the
every
site
time.
distance was
not
there,
every time,
that wasn't an issue.
not every time. He didn't, I mean,
Well, I'll put
this
it
does
this
not
way.
require him to do anything.
That
There are
permit,
site plan
If-
regulations.
Right,
But-
and that's what he went by the driveway regulations in the subdivision. And if he didn't, that means that he kept coming back in and lying through his teeth. Because he would come in and say, they've got site distance, he's got this, he's got that, and I showed him exactly where the driveway has to go. So I can't accept the fact that he just come in and say that and he didn't really do it.
Well, whether he did or he didn't, it's really kind of negligible when we're talking about the fee. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if we are able to charge a fee, we should.
Well,
It may not have to be $75, but we should charge a fee. With these new regulations, he's not gonna be going out there once, he's gonna be going out there at least twice, and in some cases 3 times.
Well,
especially if there's a sidewalk in place.
right,
And I don't have,
I don't
personally
think
don't have a problem
taxpayers
with
should
that.
take the hit. You know, if we can charge a fee for this, we should, just, that's the reason we charge building permit fees, because we can. We don't try to, you
Well,
know,
to follow
scalp
that
it
one-
hard.
one more step, Ken.
We want to avoid
Would you-
another mindset too, and that's the mindset of every place where we can charge a fee, we should do it.
and we don't.
But
But I
you
think
can-
this is definitely
But
generating
with that
more
what I'm
trips.
saying is, with that mindset, we can end up with a half a dozen people in town whose mindset is, what other ways can we charge people fees? What other ways? And they start looking, and they find them, and they find them, and they find them. And I'm just saying, we gotta
I think you
we
should,
gotta guard ourselves against any kind of mindset that is going to go, that can go astray and create unreasonable problems.
I think as many trips as this is gonna generate, there should be some type of fee.
I'm
I-
not arguing against the fee, I'm,
I think we
I
have
know,
a,
afraid
you're
of
right.
that, but I'm saying,
You're
I'm
right.
afraid of the mindset of the people in here. The mindset of, what else can we charge them for? You know, oh, looky here.
I think we've had a mindset in terms of driveways though in the past of people could do whatever they want. Hence, you have the situation that Selectman Constantino brought up of somebody paving a driveway without getting any advice whatsoever.
But it has never
Of
been
somebody
that.
like me who made the comment, okay, without really thinking and looking at situations of, well, if I wanna pave my driveway, I should have the right to, what difference does it make if it's, well, it does make a difference in terms of drainage
And we
and
do have,
everything like that.
and we do have
So-
rules and so forth concerning the driveway, how it is, how far you can see down the road from where you put the driveway, how much clearance you have to have so that people can see your driveway.
In the site
All
plan.
of those things are already covered
Correct.
in
The
those,
site plan.
the things that we are supposed to be
Subdivision,
abiding by here.
subdivision, correct.
And those things are available. They're not it's not that they aren't available, because they are. The rules for putting in a driveway correctly are there.
Well, who's gonna put, if somebody's
Not
regrading,
completely.
if somebody's
Not
regrading their driveway, why would they wanna go to a subdivision rules to look up driveways? I mean, I would think that you would want a driveway.
where do you think this
Rules.
is going? It's going in the subdivision where the driveway stuff is.
Well,
No,
yes,
I know-
but when
I know if
somebody
I were gonna
comes
put in
in
a
to get
driveway,
this
I
permit,
would say, okay, how do I go about putting in a driveway?
when
And
somebody comes,
I'd look for the place that has some rules that tell me how to put a driveway in. And tell me the things that I can't do when I'm putting in a driveway. And then then is where Dennis comes into the picture. If you put in a driveway and you go against the rules for putting in a driveway correctly, then Dennis comes into the picture because somebody says, hey, one neighbor's, like he said, somebody did something that caused his driveway to collapse. Then he should go to Dennis, and Dennis could say, okay, who did this? And Dennis should be able to go to the person who did the wrong thing and say, okay, you've got to do something about this. But somebody needs to be in the position to say, look, you did it wrong, you gotta fix it.
Or to go in ahead of time and say, all right, if you're going to be doing this, this has to be looked at, and that has to be looked at. I mean, it's a review process.
That's right.
And it's for the protection of the individual, like Eric, who is a victim of somebody not going through the due diligence of doing it. It's
It was the
actually
town of
illegal.
Tilton.
Well, then, in any case, it's still,
And with, I think, a short abbreviated form like that, it's a danger.
it doesn't clarify
It
enough
doesn't-
to get
it
the job
doesn't
done
really
correctly
spell
or
things
hold
out.
anything
What's
responsible
in
for it.
here, I think for the most part is very reasonable and it's very thorough. I only had a couple of things that, I have questions about,
I
but otherwise I think it's good.
And as I say, the only problem I had is with the fees.
Yes.
Well, I had a question to that too.
I
have
would
problems
go
with
with,
these.
let's say, $60.
No, you know,
But-
I wouldn't say a flat fee. I mean, you're looking at, this is a, you know, driveway permit, it doesn't state whether it's a commercial driveway, personal driveway, household, residential, whether it's anything, but you're gonna have how many visits for a commercial driveway? Are you gonna have how many for, a development driveway? And your costs are different for such. If somebody's gonna repave their driveway, is it $75 and then Walmart's gonna repave or reduce or do something else to their driveway, that's $75. That's not equitable. I mean, a tiered permit, a tiered fee would make a little more sense. If I'm gonna just repave my driveway and I want Dennis to come out there and say, okay, but you're gonna have to do this and this, he's gonna come out once, I'm gonna, dial up Joe's driveway, repaving company, and he's gonna redo that, and Dennis isn't gonna come up and visit that again. But he's gonna go to Walmart 5 times. I mean, the expense is different.
Can you charge per visit?
Well, she's got a site visit here, $35.
Correct, but
Is that on top of the driveway fee?
Mhm.
So you're looking at over $100 to get a driveway fee? A driveway fee?
so if someone's just repaving their driveway,
Yeah.
okay? If Richard
That's, I
decides
would
to-
assume that's an update. So they pay an update and a site visit.
Oh, yeah, the $35, I think it's an update.
Yeah,
Why do you
so
have
they-
to have a site visit if you're just putting a new layer of blacktop on?
Well, not
because
always,
Dennis
Well,
is
let's
because-
say
gonna
you
go
have
out.
let's say you have a dirt driveway, then
No,
now
I'm
you're,
talking about repaving.
that's what I am too, and you're gonna repave, and you're gonna pave it.
There's different types of repaving.
Right.
There's repaving where they
And I
take
think
out
that
the old and
we-
put in the new.
Like I have
I have
pavement
to
now.
tell you, I haven't looked at this for a while, right now I'm working on sewer, so it's been, this has been since, February.
Well, we repaved our
I
driveway
think
a few
the
years ago,
$35
We
is
had
Dennis's
an
recommendation.
asphalt driveway.
The
We
site
recall it.
visit, look at what happened to my neighbor. I mean, if,
Did you go to your neighbor and tell him that they're,
uh-huh.
because it
Yeah.
is,
But there's
Well,
nothing.
you don't know that you can't do a thing about it until after it rains, after they've done the driveway. And now you've got a problem.
I'm just,
Had there been a site visit, it would have been explained that there would have been certain criteria to meet and conditions to meet, and there would have been a verbal or written conditions, and then we would be able to go back on that and say, well, these conditions aren't met because you've got now water going into your neighbors.
but I mean, did you go to your neighbor and say, hey, you paved your driveway and now all that water's coming right into my basement?
Absolutely.
Did you come to the town?
Nope,
What is there in place for the
there's
town to
nothing for the
intervene?
town to do.
Well, I mean, even back then, Dennis was going out and looking
I
at
asked the
sites.
building inspector at the time, and
But
the
there's
building
nothing-
inspector at the time said
there's
there's
no
nothing they could do.
Yeah, there's no requirements.
what happened, in the case of repaving a driveway, I understand the need for a brand new driveway.
Right.
Joe Schmo's building a house, needs to have a driveway, or even a case where they're relocating a driveway like they did up the road here. But if I'm just repaving my driveway,
Right.
I would never have known that I needed a driveway permit in the first place. So I guess enforcement is, how do you enforce it? Is that a good
Well,
question for that?
it's the
Is
same
that-
with any zoning, it's like this fellow, he didn't, he was smart enough to come in, but what if he hadn't, what if he just got down there and started putting up cars? Somebody would see
Well,
it,
by the
somebody
time
would
you
call
find the
in.
driveway, the driveway's already done, I mean, the driveway takes
Well,
a day.
and I think what would happen in the town's case, let's say that happened, let's say, okay, I've got a dirt driveway, let's say I decided to pave my driveway. No, I'm not, okay, and I'm on a town road, I'm on a state road, and I decided to pave my driveway, and I didn't know that I had to get an application, and I paved my driveway. And one of the road guys went by and they said, oh my God, that driveway used to be dirt, they paved it, they didn't get an application. Then I would hope the road agent would come out and he'd look at it and he'd go, you know what? You should have gotten an application, if there was a fee involved, he'd probably say, well, your apron isn't graded quite right, I'm gonna have you to do this, this, and this, you're gonna have to alter this. Now, with this in place, he has the right to say that, and make that property owner fix the apron so the water does not erode away the existing road that it's going on to, and then I would have to come in and pay the fee. There are in place in this, if you violate this, it's against the law. But the road agent, I think if he went in and he saw you do something like that, I think he would have the ability to say that. That, you know what, okay, you didn't know, it's okay, it's good, the driveway's good, you don't have to do anything to it, but, you know, you should have paid a fee, so go in and pay the fee. But this gives them the ability to look at it and either decide it's done correctly. If it's not done correctly, then the property owner has to make it correct. Do you see what I'm saying?
Does it become the responsibility of the contractor to notify the homeowner or property owner that they have to have a permit? Because if I was hired to buy
Property
a
owner's
house,
responsibility, and I can tell you that, I was in construction for 30 years. It is the property owner's responsibility to make sure all permits are taken care of, not the contractor.
See, I look at these fees, and at first I said, oh, no, we shouldn't do that. And the more and more I thought about it, I look at this like, I have to call a plumber. I have to call Mr. Reuter, okay, because my plumbing stopped up. Mr. Reuter on the telephone says to me, there's an initial charge for a visit of $50. And then it gets into a lot of other things. And that initial charge is for Mr. Reuter to bring his equipment and come out to my premises. That's the only charge, the reason is that charge. And I see this as the same way. We're taking the time to take town equipment and a town manager, because that's who Dennis is, okay? And we're taking his time to go out and inspect something. It's like Mr. Reuter's initial $50, whether he does anything or he doesn't. I don't see it nickel and diming people. I see us recouping what taxpayers are putting out in terms of his salary.
using Richard's example, it's gonna cost me the same to put a driveway in as it is Walmart.
No, because he may make 20,
That's where,
no,
yeah, 'cause it's
not to put a
the
driveway
permit, but
in.
then they're gonna visit 5 times to Walmart at $35 a whack.
Alright, so it's
Yeah.
per
That's right.
visit, that's why
Okay.
Permit fee is visit fee.
Isn't the
Per
building
visit.
inspector's
Yeah, that's what the site visit is.
salary
5 times is
paid
once.
from the taxes that the people of the town pay? He is part of the expenses of running the town. The expenses of running the town are paid by the people who pay the taxes.
Right.
Those are the things which go into the calculation to determine what our taxes are.
Along
But
with the
Bob,
building
if you're
permit
building
fees.
a new house, you are paying a fee for that.
Certainly.
But that's the same thing, if you're building a new driveway, you're going to pay a fee for that, just like you pay a fee.
Of course.
So raises another.
Well, that's
You
why,
pay for what you get.
yeah, that's why,
But you don't pay and repay what you've already paid because somebody says, I'd like you to pay more.
The building permit fees are revenue to the town, and that revenue is considered not just the taxes that are raised by the property owners, but the revenue received from building permits is also part of the calculation that determines his fee.
Absolutely.
Well, then I would ask one other question too, but does a building permit fee include a driveway fee? You know, if you're building, I'm paying a permit to build a house, but I'm gonna have a driveway, and is this above and beyond the building permit, or is a building permit inclusive of the driveway fee?
Good question.
Depends on what community you're in.
Well, I'm just building my own house.
Right now in the town of Tilton, there is no driveway permit fee.
So if I have a building permit,
That's my point.
No, let's say I already have a building, and I wanna put in a new driveway.
well, I understand that I understand here, but if I'm building, if I get a 1 acre piece of property to whatever minimum zoning is, and it's, okay, I'm finally gonna build on this thing, and I come to the town, I want a building permit. Do I need a building permit and a driveway permit?
Yes.
yes,
Well,
That's what.
you
Not
already
today.
do.
If this passes with a fee, then yes, you will.
Yeah, or does the building permit have would we make the building permit inclusive of a driveway because it's part of a construction?
No, because it's not necessarily, what if you're already, if you had a lot, the house burned down, and you're gonna put a building on it, but you have an
But the
existing
driveway's already
driveway.
there. That's
The
what I'm saying.
driveway's already
That's
there
why
and
I'm asking,
permitted.
it's a vacant lot, and I'm now gonna clear the
Right.
trees out, and I'm gonna start from scratch, and I get a building permit.
Then you're gonna need a driveway permit if this passes.
Right. And I'm just
Well,
wondering.
he needs a
that's why-
driveway permit anyway, he just won't pay a driveway permit fee.
my question is really, do you make the building permit for a new construction item like that inclusive with the driveway permit?
I don't think so, because there's
Is it above and beyond?
too many variables involved. Do you know what I mean? If you, I mean, ideally, I think what you're referring to is the lot that's never been built on, never
Exactly,
has had a
this is the limit item
driveway.
here, Right, but obviously, you're gonna have to have a driveway when you build a house.
If there's not one already there.
Correct, so building permit, you can't double dip, because you've gotta get a driveway to your building. So in those new construction from virgin property, you really can't double it up.
Of course you can. You can require them to get a driveway permit.
But if I choose, okay, well, I'm gonna build my house, but I'm not gonna get to it, because I don't wanna pay a $75, fee, I mean, I'm a devil's advocate here. So you have to do a driveway to a virgin property.
Yeah, but when you go into a different house, let's say you're buying a piece of property and you make the necessary, changes to your house, you have to get permits in order to do that. So the same would apply, I mean, you have to get fire permits to do the things that are pertaining to chimney, fire, furnace, that kind of fire, carbon monoxide, those kinds of
Right,
things.
all has to be done, part of the building permit.
It's not part of the building permit,
No,
it's in
Part
addition
of
to.
the CO.
It's part of the CO, it's part of the, that's in addition to, it's the same thing.
So a building permit, an occupancy permit, and this.
Or, no, they're different, you're gonna pay the fire department totally different than what you would be paying, the town of Tilton. It's something different.
Okay, I'm just, I'm just, because I'm
Right,
gonna build
so-
a house, I'm just
So I
kinda
mean,
wondering.
your requirement, for the town of Tilton, you could meet your requirement for the town of Tilton, but it's very possible that you won't meet your requirement for the fire department to occupy that building. So now you've got to go through the permitting process for the fire department, so now is that, you've already paid your fees for your building permit, now you have to get your you
So-
can't be occupied until you,
So we've
get
already
your-
got it set, I mean, it's already,
Right.
that it will,
it's the
these are
same
separate.
analogy.
Separate yeah, okay.
Right.
And that's fine,
It's the
just want
same
to try and
analogy.
understand that, can you double dip on this, or is it already,
Yeah.
the way we do it?
It's not double dip.
I just, because I've
Okay.
never.
I
think
have a
we-
question,
I think, yeah,
just quick question.
Yeah.
Right now, when somebody calls and they're paving their driveway, I send it to Dennis.
Right.
Will Dennis be the one having these fees, having these forms to make out, taking the fees?
Well, no, either, no, it would be you or the town. Somebody comes in and says, do I need a permit to do my driveway? Then
Okay.
you or Al would give them an application.
And then when it comes back, does it come back into us, or does it go into Dennis?
It comes to the town of Tilton.
Then you can send copies or, fax over or email over copies.
Now, would there be a permit number issued like Al does on the building permits?
I would think that would be easier to
And
do.
I don't see on here where it's, the permit's signed off by Dennis.
Yeah, there is,
Is there?
on the.
Oh, the date of the field
Yeah.
visit, okay.
see it?
Mhm,
Second
yeah.
page.
I was just
Right,
wondering where it was gonna be administered
Right.
out of.
I
My
have a
question.
couple of comments or questions. On number one, it says only one driveway entrance per lot is permissible without planning board approval. We've already made the rules and regulations regarding driveways as far as their site distance and how close or far away from. Why do they have to come to the planning board if they want two driveway entrances? I mean, on my property and yours too, I have,
I don't know where you are.
I have
Two
one
or
driveway
three.
entrance.
Page
well, I
three.
have a
Oh,
couple
page
different
three.
openings.
Well, I live on DOT, but let's say
So do I.
you know, somebody's building, somebody has an existing house and now they wanna, they're not gonna have, this is a resident, right? They're not going to, they only have one driveway and say they wanna put another driveway in.
What if they want to circle drive,
Semicircular.
so,
Make a
you know,
horseshoe.
semicircle, horseshoe?
We're talking about an entrance, this is driveway entrance.
Well, that could, either side could be an entrance. They could choose
So if
either
they're gonna
side.
put in a second entrance,
Mhm.
shouldn't somebody have oversight on that impact to the
Wouldn't-
town's roads?
Wouldn't that, if you're going to put in a second driveway, wouldn't that be covered under the driveway application? They go out and look to make sure you have the sight distance, that you're not near intersections, that nothing's going to interfere with the traffic flow. And I'm just trying to understand why they'd have to come to the planning board if they wanted a second
It was
entrance.
suggested to me, and, I talked to, I'm not sure if it was Rye or Hanover, but the reason was, just as I said, so that somebody would have oversight on the impact on the town road.
Well, I would, you know, I mean, that would be part of the application itself, wouldn't it?
And, remember, this doesn't distinguish between private residence and a business. What if I was a business?
Well, it would still be the same thing if you're on a town road. It would have to be approved by the road agent that would go out and look at it.
But why wouldn't the planning board want to know if I had a business on the town road, and now all of a sudden I decided to put a second entrance on that business?
If they're coming into site plan to us, I would say, yes, we're going to
Say
look
they've
at
already
that.
site planned, and the planning board said, and that site plan was for one driveway.
Well, then let's
Then they'd have
change
to
the
amend
site
your
plan.
site plan.
Amendment.
And they'd have to come to planning board.
But when you
So maybe
put
they
that
should say
for commercial
for
driveway.
commercial.
Yeah. The other one is down here.
Here, let's fix this one first.
Okay. Just to insert commercial, only one driveway entrance per commercial lot.
Is per lot is permissible for commercial
Commercial,
slash, should it
Why
say
would
business?
per commercial lot be okay?
Commercial lot. Does it need to say business or is commercial good enough?
I think commercial, that,
Residential.
commercial is pretty much covers everything that
Okay.
would be
What?
business.
Only one
What he
driveway
said,
entrance per
non-residential.
commercial lot is
Yeah.
Very good,
permissible
non-residential.
without planning board approval.
Yeah, but non-residential isn't necessarily commercial, right?
You're sitting next to his wife.
Could be industrial too.
That's not residential.
Commercial comes industrial, right?
Yeah. All right,
Tag.
yeah,
Maybe
what,
the other thing too, and like you said, Sandy, I mean, if you've got a horseshoe driveway, we do need 250.
right, you
Oh,
still have to
okay.
have your site.
Okay, but your driveway is 150-foot horseshoe, you're
Yeah, we
talking about a
make
large
her come.
expanse of visibility too, for a horseshoe type driveway.
She brings us
How would that be
cookies
considered?
and fudge.
Well, I guess it depends on the amount of space you have, how wide your lot is that you're looking to put this on. And then when you look down the road both directions, what
I'd
kind
say
of,
it have, I mean, that's, and like you said, that's still two entrances to the property.
right,
Oh, and if you're even on a corner lot and you're coming across the two corners of a road that comes around, I mean, you still need that 250 feet from
Right.
both of those entrances, so, I mean,
so in that case, you probably couldn't get one if you didn't have the site distance. And now, the other, the one that I was gonna bring up is this corner lot driveways shall access only from the lesser traveled road, which will be determined by the Public Works Director. I can appreciate that in some cases, but depending on the way your house is laid out on the lot, you might have to enter from the road that would have more traffic on it.
Again, that was
Well, I'm-
input from four other communities, and,
I'm thinking
I
about.
ran it by Dennis as my expert, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the house that's up on the corner by me. It's a corner lot. They have a
Which corner?
corner of Clark Road and Caleb Hill.
Okay, well, it's on Blanton's.
That white house,
Yep.
Kinda
Yellow.
cream colored.
Yellow.
yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's 'cause it hasn't been
Oh,
painted.
okay.
Are
Yeah,
either
I
of
know
those
now.
roads lesser traveled than the other, Caleb and Clark?
Well, all I
Richard
know is
Stanley
they
is
have
the
a
third.
driveway on Clark Road
Okay.
and
And
they
they had the two
applied for a
driveways.
driveway on Caleb and
Only built
they
a
would not
garage
give
on
it to them.
Caleb.
That's
Even though
state.
they had
And the driveway
more
to his
than enough
house
sight
is on
distance and they
Clark.
were more than far enough
Did they?
away from the
Yeah.
curb, the corner.
That's where he went.
They wouldn't give
I
it
think
to
if
him.
you look now, it's got a driveway. It goes
I
around
mean,
the
they're
back.
both state roads, you're right.
Mhm.
But, you know, depending on how your house is laid out on your lot, maybe the way you have to go in and out that would be the most convenient to get to the house might not be the lesser traveled road.
It's gonna burn us down the road too.
I think it pretty much has to be handled on an individual basis.
I would think
whatever-
so, but the way it's written here is it's just saying it will be done that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have a question on that
And
too, I
that's-
mean, if you get somebody that builds a house that's a passive solar and they have to face in a certain
Right.
direction,
Yeah.
you
Right.
can't tell them how to put their driveway in
Right.
because you can change their entire use of property.
The other one here is a shared driveway.
Let's fix this one.
Okay,
6, corner lot driveways shall, let's leave out only,
shall access from the lesser traveled road or whatever is determined by the public works director.
It gives you flexibility
Yeah,
and
just to
control.
put some flexibility in there so that if he comes out and he sees, well, yes, this road doesn't have near the traffic, but it also isn't conducive to the way where your garage is. You know, if your garages are on the other side.
So cross out only, and then
Yeah.
after traveled road, put or.
that doesn't
Access,
make sense. Because, which will be determined by, the lesser traveled road is what's gonna be determined by the public works director. Plus, he's gonna determine whether or not corner lot driveways shall access only from, I mean, he's gonna have 2 jobs here.
Can you just say corner
Yep.
lot driveway shall be determined by the public works director?
yes, as to where the driveway would be. Or which road it will access. How about that?
That sounds good.
Keeps you in control.
Keeps the town in
Um,
somewhat control, but it allows him to go out and
Corner
look.
lot driveway access,
Access from corner lot driveways, how's that?
Yeah, access.
It'll be
Access
determined by the
from-
public works
how
director.
about corner lot driveways access shall be determined by the public works director?
Why not access from corner lot driveways shall be determined by the public works director?
That works too? Yeah. Access from
Corner lot driveways
corner lot driveways
shall
shall be
be
determined
determined,
by the public works director.
Yeah. okay,
Sounds good?
alright. You had another one, Sandy?
Yeah. This one, right, this. Okay. On the second page, on number 16, it said, a shared driveway facilitating greater than 2 dwellings require planning board approval. Right in our definitions, it's already saying that you can't serve more than 2 dwellings on a shared driveway. So, planning board,
That was the issue that was added for our road. Just-
yeah.
Yeah.
So, that really,
I would just strike that,
because our zoning already
Because
says you
it's not-
can't have it
yeah.
more than 2. Only 2 dwellings can be serviced by 1 driveway.
Because everything else, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all site plan approval, so.
Yeah.
We have
But
to.
it's already in
Well, but
our,
remember, this is not just for commercial.
right, it's for residents too.
The
You can-
planning board, that's for,
Most,
It states, let me read it to you,
Is that-
driveway,
that-
this
that-
is the definition, driveway.
is that in site plan or subdivision? That's in subdivision?
Yeah, in the definitions. Driveway means an area located on a lot, track or parcel of land and intended for access to a garage or off-street parking space, serving not more than 2 dwelling units. So in other words, one easement or driveway curb cut can only serve 2 dwellings, no more than 2. And same way with easements for driveways to background lots, you can only service 2. So,
So we can leave it out.
yeah, I would say you can leave it out, because the
And then
zoning
put
itself.
17 will be 16, right?
Right, that's all I had questions on.
I believe, it was, I don't remember who, maybe it was Dennis, somebody mentioned to me that there was talk from the planning board about changing the site distance? The
Well,
state was
The
gonna change their
state
site?
did, yes, the
State.
state did, to
State.
400,
Wow.
yeah. And
That would
instead of
pretty
the
much-
365 in all directions, the all-season
Might be
site
400.
distance would be 400
yeah.
feet.
But
I mean,
they
that's
didn't-
there now.
They didn't follow
Right.
that reg when they gave.
State roads are much straighter than town
They just
roads
changed it.
typically.
Well, no, well, when
No,
they
it
did
was in
Dwyer's,
place when
right,
they did Dwyer's,
yeah, it was,
Okay.
which
That's what-
they don't have 400 feet.
No, but in some cases
Anything
they
happening
can't,
up
what are
there?
they gonna do,
It
deny
creates a
access?
hardship for the lot.
Right,
So that would be
Which-
number 8.
I think there's a
Yeah.
tree that's marked there that they have to take.
Are you going to change yours or leave it the same?
oh no, we're gonna change the, what's
Huh?
in the,
Talking about the
cause our subdivision
No,
now
no,
says
no,
three
across the street
sixty,
from me on Clark.
Five.
Right.
we're
And you-
changing that to 400. Because you can be more strict than the state.
Right, but
so we could leave it at 365, because it's stricter than what the state has, right?
No,
That's more
because
lenient.
the state's
Oh,
saying
more
400,
lenient, right.
so we would be less strict.
Right, that's right, yeah.
But now this is for, where is it? This does not necessarily pertain to town roads. You have the, minimum of 250-foot all-season sight distance in each direction must be provided to maintain residential driveways. But maybe what you need to put there would be residential or driveways on town roads. Because it's the
well,
other,
we can only regulate town roads.
right,
Yeah.
We can't
The other-
regulate state roads, so this,
Right.
that,
Or
Right.
private.
we don't need to put that in here because
right.
we don't have that authority.
But you've got, for all other driveways, common, commercial, industrial, multifamily, the minimum all-season site distance should be 365, which is
All
what
of the
we
driveways
have.
on town roads.
But
Yeah,
that
but
would
we
be,
can only regulate town roads,
Right.
so it's redundant.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
don't have to say that, we,
So if it's a state road that comes in, then it's 400,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't, so
Yeah.
it's,
right?
Right.
Because you're right, I mean, how many places where it's hilly and it's curvy and
Well,
you're lucky if you can get 250 going each
We're lucky
direction.
we get 100 of Jocelyn Lane.
Yeah.
If it's private, that doesn't
Right.
pertain anyhow.
But that would be the only thing, is we just have to know that that's there. Okay?
Okay. Have we discussed this to death?
Well, I have a couple of things.
Okay.
go ahead.
Just because I have free time in my hand, I actually printed out the City of Concord's driveway permit application.
Mm-hmm.
And one, for appearance purposes, it looks rather nice. It has, like, in box 2, it says whether it's a new driveway, an existing driveway overlay only, existing driveway remove and replace, existing driveway with alterations to city right-of-way or town right-of-way, existing driveway with alterations on private property. It'd be nice to kind of distinguish what they're doing on this permit, because other than just driveway, I think, you know, for, even for Dennis's purpose, or trying to figure out what is gonna be required of the town, what's their intent, are they just replacing the driveway? I think that has less scrutiny, so to speak, than, you know, digging out a driveway and, you
Well,
know,
that's why he would have, I mean,
but it'd be
somebody
just nice to know
generates
on,
a driveway permit, he's gonna have to go out and look, but we can add, I mean,
Well,
this
it's
is,
just
It's actually,
this is
looking
the
over your
planning
shoulders for
board's
that.
this
decision,
is, I mean,
so
they
we
just,
can add anything you want.
this is their application, it's 2 pages, you know, but there's just some things in here that, I'm reading that, and maybe I didn't read it close enough, but liabilities towards the town. you know, such as up the road here where the hairdresser went in, you know, it says all highway components and roadside features, including shade trees, disturbance of tree roots shall be allowed, shall be left in as good condition of repair and cleanliness at the expiration of the permit as existed when said permit was granted. Furthermore, the city engineer reserves the right to restore the highway or cause the standard restored under his or her direction, and the permittee to whom this permit is granted shall reimburse the town for any and all liability and expense suffered by reason of such work.
That's something that's not in here, is our sidewalks on otherwise state-approved driveway curb cuts, like what happened up here. There's nothing in here that would have stopped that.
Nope. And I talked to Dennis, that's a separate ordinance we'll have to write.
Yeah.
And it can't be part of this because we can't regulate
Right,
those driveways because they're not
Right.
cutting into town roads.
right,
So that's a separate ordinance.
okay.
But then, it just has some things in here. It should propose construction work to affect existing sidewalks, roadways and parking spaces, and encumbrance permits issued by the engineering service division may also be required. Encumbrances or obstructions shall at all times be properly guarded, barricaded, or fenced during the time the highway is encumbered or obstructed. The other one that I didn't see here in ours is the applicant hereby agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the city of Concord or the town of Tilton from all claims for damage or injury whatsoever that may arise from the encumbrance, obstruction, occupation, or use of said highway. The applicant shall be accountable for all damages that may occur on account of said encumbrance, obstruction, occupation, or use of the aforesaid highway. The town of Tilton in no case assumes any responsibility or liability by reason of this permit.
Oh, that's good.
I
That's good stuff.
I believe in plagiarism, so that's.
I think we might take another look at the first line of this thing. The first line before any of the items that are listed says, I quote, I read off the paper, as the landowner, I hereby agree to the following conditions. That goes in front of every single one of the items that we have just talked about. And I think that if you put that in front of each of these items where it belongs, you find some pretty unreasonable things in there. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, but that.
Number 4 is to hold harmless the town of Tilton, New Hampshire, as duly appointed agents, elected officials, and employees against any action for personal injury and or property damage sustained by reason of the exercise of this driveway permit.
There's a lot of them where it fits fine. I'm talking about the ones where it doesn't fit fine. The ones where it puts an unreasonable burden on the landowner.
Which ones?
Which one's not?
What are
Well, let's take a look at it. To construct the driveway entrance only for the purpose of securing ingress and egress to the identified private property such that the driveway is used for no purpose other than that approved for by the town of Tilton and the identified above. But if you want to let somebody use your driveway for any reason other than to get to your place, you can't do that.
Why not?
It says you can't right here.
Well, if you apply for a residential driveway, you can only use it as a residential driveway. If you apply for a commercial driveway, you can only use it for a commercial driveway.
I think I see his point, because I allowed Joe to use my driveway to access the field to dump brush down there.
Right.
You know, and
That's a residential purpose. I think what it's saying is you can't, if you're, say you have a residence and next door to you is a business and the business says, hey, I wanna use your driveway, you know, if we just make a little road between here and here, just, 50 feet, you know, I can use your driveway to get people in the back of my business.
how much you willing to pay me?
I think that's what it's saying.
And that's my point, is that it's, you know, when you take each one individually, there are some of the wording in there is so restrictive to be unreasonable condition for the landowner. You know, you forget about, after you've read the first one, you forget that that goes with every one of the others. And it's very easy to put yourself or put somebody else in a position that's not reasonable. Just the word only in there. In the first one, the word only is the thing that makes it, changes it from something simple to something complicated. To construct the driveway entrance for the purpose of securing egress and egress to the identified private property. You know, as soon as you put the only in front of that, it changes the whole effect of, you know, it's as if.
But that's why you would be doing it, is for cars to go in and out.
That's right.
You wouldn't build a house on it, or.
Yeah, but to, if I were to put it in and then allow somebody else to use it for something other than just to get to my house, for whatever reason, somebody else could come back from here and say, look, you didn't apply this. This says only.
You have to
This says only for the purpose of securing ingress and egress to the identified property.
You have to read
And if
the.
I let somebody use it for something other than that, I'm in conflict with this statement.
No, that's not true. You have to read the whole thing. Only for the purpose of securing ingress and egress to the identified private property, such as the driveway is used for no purpose other than that approved for by the town of Tilton and identified above. So a residential driveway is only a residential driveway.
Okay,
It can't be used.
now somebody's gonna say,
It can't be used as a business, commercial, or industrial. A commercial driveway is just that. If you fill out this application and you apply for a commercial driveway, then that's what it has to be used for. It's not used
then I
for
can't,
access to a
then I
resident.
can't use it to go to my house anymore. Because it's a commercial driveway.
Well, that's because now your house has become a commercial business. Otherwise, what is your commercial driveway to?
What I'm saying is, what is the purpose of that? Why can't it simply be, as it has been forever, and the driveway is the access to my property?
Right. So what you're saying is, say, next year I decide to become a bookkeeper out of my house. Now, do I have to get a new driveway curb cut? Is that what you're saying?
You have to come in and let the town know that you are now conducting a business on your property, sure.
But now, according to our own zoning, there are certain businesses that they call home occupations which don't require a site plan.
This doesn't require a site plan, but you're notifying the town that that driveway has changed, that more traffic is now going to be generated in and off of the town road. That you're now gonna conduct a business on town road, and you're attracting more traffic on the town road.
Not necessarily, because I'm just working on the computer all day. I don't have people coming. So I think
That's another type of business, right? I mean, but typically, I mean, and that's why that's in there, it's to identify what's happening on the town road.
Usage of the property and then access.
But I mean, it's still basically a residence. I have an office in my home.
and nobody comes there.
I have a concrete business at my house, I'm on Route 3, but say I was out on a town road someplace, it generates business, it generates more traffic on the town road. And that's what it's all about, is kind of regulating that traffic. And that's something the planning board should know.
What
Are we
if,
generating more traffic into a neighborhood? You
What
need
if,
to now
uh,
look at it.
what if I had a couple acres of land and I put it in the garden and then I stick up a farm stand?
Pick your own, or farm stand.
You're
That-
generating more traffic on a town road.
But it's an agricultural use. It's still residential, really, you're not commercial,
Your other,
you're
There
other.
other. More
Being
traffic, more
picked
wear
here.
and tear, more cost to the
Bits of
town.
plenty are being picked
alright,
here.
are there any other changes or?
We don't
Those
get
were
right
the
as
only
crap
ones
that
in
way.
there that I saw that,
Just discussion.
that I personally saw, I don't know about
Discussion
the rest.
ensues.
Nitpicking.
Should we have a right of revocation that the road agent or the director of public works can?
He's
It's
already
still-
seen this.
No,
No, no.
for the actual permit, can he
Right.
revoke it,
Can it be denied, you mean, like?
Yeah, he can deny it.
or revoke it?
Denied or
Revoke
revoked?
it.
Revoke.
Revoke it
If it's
for
in there
not,
and something else has changed,
Right.
then revoke it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's, the people, once it's there, it's there.
but if it's revoked,
Non-compliance with any of the following conditions shall result in rejection of the application.
right,
Right, but if the application goes through, let's say there's this, a situational change, can the permit be revoked by the town?
If he puts in his farm stand, can that driveway permit be revoked at a later time?
Prior to construction?
what if it's already there, what are you gonna do, make him get rid of his driveway?
Close it up, keep the deal.
Can you legally deny him access to the property?
No, he's
No,
gonna make
you
you give him
can't.
free
Not
produce
unless
for
they're
the
gonna
rest of
buy
his
the
life.
land from you. They can't deny
I,
access.
when I say you, I mean, can the town
Or what
legally
if
deny
they,
someone
if they,
access?
if they,
Well, it states right here, it says, shall in no case deny access to the property abutting the town's highways. So they have to, unless they're gonna take your property,
No, that's a whole different thing.
right?
but
So
what if,
you're gonna get a driveway, it's just where it has to go.
but what if he does an inspection, a follow-up inspection or something, and,
If he didn't do something according to Hoyle in a follow-up inspection, then
I don't know, I'm just saying, if Dennis says, you know, if this driveway is, you know, had to be sloped a certain way or something like that, or they didn't put, you know,
With the drainage and underneath it, if it was required,
yeah, if they didn't
like a
put,
culvert.
can he revoke that driveway permit?
Well, I think when we get, I think if you look on the last page,
Under penalty.
okay, under penalties, what the suggestion is that we adopt the new driveway permit, and when we do, incorporate them into the Tilton subdivision regulations. And there should be a statement in a driveway ordinance in the subdivision regulations stating, and then read those two things.
Should say from, not form.
I do that.
Where's that, Catherine?
In 14, second line, all the way to the right. A written
Okay.
driveway permit from,
That's a right, left, right side, left side green thing.
Okay, so
I
there are
have that problem.
penalties.
I'm always ready
Right.
for 'em.
There's
Me
If
too.
if we choose to adopt this, then we've gotta make changes in other things.
There's another one that I like to check. Sometimes the
Okay.
computer fixes it,
The word.
sometimes.
The word two, T-O, I'm always writing no T,
So it's
so I made
right,
spell check.
right. site plan, this one, then.
Well, spell check wouldn't help there.
Autocorrect. No,
Alright,
no,
as
it
it
doesn't help on
stands
form and
now-
from, but
Yeah.
No,
OP
cause it's a
instead
word.
of PO, I got autocorrect,
Motion accepting.
turning them around.
Oh,
Oh, I do too. Flip things around.
A and D, I sometimes go A's and N.
Erica, there's some things from that Concord one you wanna add to it?
That's what we're talking about,
You can fix that.
Well, one of them was
You're
the
not adding
revoke
a word for
the
autocorrect.
permit at any time, it's just, that's line one on their thing. Furthermore, the permit is subject to the following
Some of
conditions.
the one I did work on, I use open office.
Well, it says the
now.
engineering service division, we
Yeah.
revoke the permit at any time.
I
just
was
think-
using
I-
it as a
I just think
jurisdiction
protecting the
code.
town is important, I mean,
No, I got a new computer and now I'm using
Something on
Publisher.
I'll
Most
do
of
it.
the time.
Is that
but I
good?
like this box
Microsoft,
too,
well, it's
I
for
just,
bulletins
I
and
like
Oh,
that,
newsletters.
knowing what they're gonna do.
Can I
It
take
would
them?
be kind of
I
good
can
for
print out 100 more if you want when I go home.
Oh, yeah, I can,
No?
okay. If I can take this one,
Yeah,
that'd be
absolutely.
great.
Everything is done in the text box.
I just like that box.
Is that the one that says what they're gonna do?
Yeah, I just think it's,
Schedule start date complete,
Takes
new
good
driveway,
stuff
existing
around,
driveway,
because you
overlay
put your
overlay.
text
and their
in
fee is
text box,
$72,
it's
so
like,
that's
well,
much.
I want it over here, just drag the
That's
text
a-
box over.
it's probably the
Do
research by
the same
lawyers
thing
and bean
in
counters
open
beyond
office, 'cause that's what I
any
was
of our
putting on
functionality.
church bulletin.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, because you've
Make
also
a
got in
text
here
box,
that,
put it in the text box,
permit will be
drag it where you want
good
it
for
for.
1 year.
I
Yeah.
took
So this box will give you at least, the established dates, I don't know if this house has a date on it too, but.
I just think that looks neat and clean.
So it's now in there, so.
I'm sorry, I
Did
don't
it
know.
on
I was gonna say, it ain't going with meat and clean in here.
It's all
I can do it for you, I do it all.
Do you want me to email this to you?
Sure, absolutely.
You can just go in and.
Hey, if you want to spend time on Google,
It took me a while because I
It's
couldn't.
recorded, I'm
So I thought,
Do you
well,
wanna
I'll do
take
something
this where I've
online.
made the,
I found it.
All right.
Cut and paste.
see where I've made the
You know,
corrections?
Yeah, just give me that and
I'll
I'll,
give you this,
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
give
do
you
it,
that.
and then
That'd be
I
great.
said it really needs to
Eric
be the
Byron.
other way, so.
I had,
Somewhere down the line, when I'm no longer here.
I'm not the most efficient.
Just fix something today, it was in the motion, and I
that's all I do is spend time with the computer.
but as far as that one on
Take
the
your
corner,
glasses
a while
off.
to do it, but
Probably don't need this one right now.
Murphy,
You said Eric?
Yeah, C, Byron, P-Y-R-A, at gmail.com.
When I go upstairs to get them, I'll send it right over to you.
I'm going home after this, so.
You're awesome.
You may, maybe you're all night if we don't move along.
Yeah, I do
I'll just stay.
I'm here, I'm off on Fridays.
you're
Most
getting paid
Fridays.
by the hour, so.
so we're gonna make a
Yeah, we all,
motion to,
Thursday, Friday, right.
Just a minute, we have somebody making the motion.
Okay.
we're gonna make a motion to approve the driveway permit with the changes noted.
Oh, we have to have a public hearing.
Oh, we can't, yeah.
Oh,
A
but we
pub-
can't, the planning board can't we?
No, you should
All right.
have a public
Move this
hearing
to
because
public
there
hearing.
Okay,
changes could come out of the public
Okay,
hearing.
all right.
You make a motion to have a
Have
public
a
hearing.
public,
okay,
move it to a public, yeah, okay.
all right,
Because somebody
Okay.
could bring something in that would be an excellent idea to add to
okay.
it, but if you've already adopted them.
But you can't mess up with your box, right? Right?
So Rich is making the motion
No, went to have a public hearing.
to have a public hearing on the driveway permit. To hold a public hearing.
However you wanna work it.
That horse is dead. That horse is dead, it's off to the glue factory. Or the dog glue factory.
Inclusive of
All
the
right,
design
what's
Okay.
changes.
Driveway
Oh,
permit,
we gotta vote, we're gonna, okay, we're gonna take it and have a public hearing.
okay. Hold a public hearing for, on the driveway permit.
Yes.
Application,
All in
right?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded it?
When did you give a
She didn't.
chairmanship?
Who seconded the?
We're all very tired.
I
When
did.
did you become a member of the planning board officially?
Not yet.
Well, I
So
know.
Well, we have
I
to take
know.
care of that
In other
tonight.
words,
I know.
you're saying, shut up.
We
I'm
have to
saying
take
shut
care of
up.
that
Okay,
tonight, too.
and do we have to establish when we're having this public hearing, at the next meeting?
At the next
or-
meeting.
Yeah, at the next
At
meeting,
the April 10th
Yeah.
meeting?
yeah.
Application at the April 10th meeting,
And
okay.
Yeah, now
you,
you're at
what
the-
time? I don't know what you have on the agenda.
I only have conceptual at 6:35, so I can make it at
7?
7, or,
Oh,
I'm out of town.
what time, 6:35, you have a
Yeah.
conceptual?
yeah, on,
Exercise class.
the piece of property next to the Pizza Hut.
Oh,
that
okay.
They wanna come in and talk about that.
10:30.
So you want me to make it 7?
So then I'm just gonna boot it over there right after.
Yeah, because there's a lot, that's gonna generate some.
May we have one meeting, please?
Yeah, you too.
Public hearing.
One meeting.
So what? Shh. Is that what you're telling us? Shut up.
Okay.
Look, I was trying to
Okay.
be nice, be nice
So
to
you got that for the
Yeah.
public hearing. All right, next,
Next. Bedtime. All right, the next thing we need to talk about are members of the planning board for this
Right.
year.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm glad you're gonna be there tomorrow too, excuse me.
okay, do you have this sheet?
somewhere,
Oh, yeah, I don't have that one with me. That wasn't-
I'm not sure I have it with me either.
Here, let me make copies.
All right.
We also need to talk about the building permit fees too tonight.
Okay.
Do I have something in here about that?
You did have one like this. You got this? And there's a bunch of them, so you can pass them out.
I may have passed them out with the others. No, here they are, I got them right here.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And Rich won't be here for the public hearing.
Where you going?
You'll be in Florida.
We'll think of it.
Okay,
Oh.
Pass them down here.
having my time.
Does all work out? To make enough for everybody? Is that
Yeah.
the packing
So
down?
then
All
you
right.
can send the folder.
We're good.
Okay? You need one?
I didn't get one, but I'll,
Yeah. I get,
oh, you got one on that?
yeah.
Thank you.
See, I figured one for everybody, one extra, because it's always
Always me.
one and one.
Okay.
All right.
Well, wait a minute, I thought. Let's take these things one at a time.
Okay.
We have Michael Curley,
Right,
and he does not want to be reappointed.
correct,
Okay, so that's a vacancy.
right.
We have an alternate who's been sworn in,
Right,
okay?
Yep.
Who ordinarily would move in to replace, to take that position.
so Mike Curley's, well, that depends on the alternate.
Were you interested in becoming a full-time?
Yeah, that's why
Okay,
I'm here.
Okay,
all right,
so that's why I wanted to take it this way,
Yeah.
okay? So,
okay, so,
And that alternate takes the duration of the term being refilled? Or
when did Mike
3 years
Curley,
from now?
when was he going to expire?
This year.
this year,
This year?
Oh, okay, so she would be
So,
starting a 3-year term.
she would be starting a 3-year term, yeah.
Okay, so on this other piece, so, put 3 years. Full member,
Right.
okay?
Okay, and then we have, Bob, whose
Abraham,
term expired,
right,
and Bob wants to be reappointed,
right,
okay?
Yep.
And then we have Nick. And you wanna discuss, how do you, the rest of the board feel about Nick?
I think this should be, not really non-public, but I don't know that it should.
Yeah, shut that out, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go on, Colleen.
No, you're sworn to secrecy.
No, we just don't want this televised.
Hang on.
you know, cause you might say something about people reading this. On the new proposed fees, on the old one, we had permanent removal of the manufactured housing unit, and it's not on the,
I bet you when he put this on here, it probably,
On the paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, with
and-
page 2, yes.
Okay, well, would you just
I will make sure
ask
it's done,
and
yeah.
make sure he puts that back, because by
Yeah.
making him get a permit to remove a mobile home gives us the opportunity to make sure that the taxes are up to
Right.
date.
Yeah, oh yeah, Yeah, I'll make sure that's added back.
Okay, I mean, maybe it did just go to the
I
next
had a
page.
question for him today, because, we have signage fees, sign
Mhm.
permit fees. And he's always used the same ones that he used before. It was the project determined by the size of the sign,
Right.
what the sign costs. And I said, now that you're taking these away, what's gonna happen on sign fees? And he said, the sign fees is gonna remain the same. Using it for the project, like $20 up to 2,500.
Oh,
And he
okay.
wants to put that on the sign application, so those will remain as far as how he's gonna do the sign permits, cause this other one doesn't make sense for a sign permit.
Right.
Comments?
When you say a new residential building, 215,000, is that, what if it's a house that's
I
valued?
didn't, Al did this,
That says $215.
not 215,000,
$215.
Anybody
that's for a house. Now, commercial
What if-
building is 215 plus $3 per square inch.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Foot.
Square foot, right, inch, ooh, really get some money.
You'd never get another commercial building in Tilton.
Yeah, I hadn't have anything to do with the way he structured these.
So then he's saying that if you have residential additions such as decks, sheds, garages, etc., then it's 30 cents per square foot with a cap of $250.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I think that might be, that cap may be a little high. If a new residential building's $215, but we're gonna put X number of square feet of deck on there, but we could charge more for a deck than a new house.
Mm,
I think that's excessive. I think that cap needs to be lower.
well, I'm wondering,
Yeah, we'll have a hard time figuring these out if
Right.
somebody comes in and he's not here.
It doesn't
Even
sound-
though it's like an 800 square foot deck, that's pretty large.
Yeah, but it
Um,
shouldn't be more expensive to add a deck than
No,
it is to
it-
build a house.
It should.
How much would that be?
$240.
$240 for an 800 square foot
Yeah.
deck.
Oh, that's way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think that cap's too
$30
low.
per square foot.
I can have we look at that?
See, I think, I honestly feel, that, new residential building should be sort of like a commercial building, but with a lower starting amount. Like $100 or $110 or whatever, plus 3 cents per square foot.
Well,
Well, right now, if you-
that can make it extremely expensive even on a house, I
Well,
just
it's a
think. If you get
difference, it's a
1,500
difference
square foot
between
house.
somebody who's building, say, a simple ranch home
Mhm.
and somebody that's building one of these
Lakefront property
big
with
grandiose
800 square feet.
palaces, you know.
Just gonna say.
Well, right now, currently, it goes up to, $60 up to the first 10,000, then it's $10 for every 10,000 after it, so.
right, so like if you came in and you wanted, for 100,000, it'd be $160.
Yes,
Be $260 for a $200,000 house, or $360 for a $300,000.
mhm,
And now he's saying it's gonna be $215 no matter what the value of the house is.
right. And
So
I think
that's-
that's to cover, like, him going out there, cause he does several inspections, you know how he does, they do.
Yeah, but he's losing this way.
He's losing.
How most houses, the average house cost is around 300,000, say, unless you're putting in a mobile home unit or just
Yeah,
building a
that's true.
small ranch. You might drop down to say 250, 220. But I'm just thinking that,
Did he explain the rationale to you at all?
no,
No, Maybe we should have him come and do that.
See, I think that we need to have him come and explain them and give us the rationale behind it.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I don't
know
this
what
makes no
means.
sense
No,
to me
and I don't
whatsoever.
know his rationale, I just
Makes
know
no
he did
sense
it
to me
last
whatsoever.
year.
Alright, why don't we leave this till our next meeting and ask him if he will please come in and go over these with us so we can understand what his whole purpose and what his reasoning is and, you know, what it is that this is going to do for him.
Oh, I agree.
Don't you? Cause we don't know what's
Yeah.
going through his head.
Even though I missed that, I think that it was, does he have an analysis that says that this is going to produce more or less
Right,
equivalent amount?
right, I don't know.
I know he
does that.
did go and look at different towns to see
Well,
what
I
different
know.
towns and was
You
trying
can't
to.
even look at it and get apples to apples.
No.
Right.
The
It-
But
way,
it's
like
hard,
some
yeah.
of this, like the demolitions and all
Yeah.
of that is
Yeah.
exactly the same as it
Yeah,
was.
he didn't
Yeah.
change anything, it was just the building part.
But I mean, it doesn't, I'm not sure what it was he was trying to do, cause the only thing he said to me is, we're losing money.
well, that's
But
what
yet
he
it
said to
looks-
me, and
But there's no way of doing it is losing money.
Yeah.
it looks to me like it is. That's why he must
Yeah.
have some rationale that we don't
Okay.
know about,
So
All
do we
right.
want the board making a motion to table this and to ask to invite
just-
Al to the
yeah.
next meeting?
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
can explain it to us.
I'll second it.
All in
making the
favor of
motion.
tabling it?
I,
So who we're gonna put down made the motion?
Rich.
All right, I made the motion, seconded.
okay.
I'd
All
like-
right, another thing we have to do tonight. We have to elect our officers for the coming year.
Do we do that until after we get our members all
I
in
would
place?
think we would,
Yeah,
wouldn't
I get that,
Okay,
yeah.
that's a
Yeah, I
good
got that,
idea,
yeah.
wait until everybody, by next meeting, everybody should be in place, and then we can do that.
Well, I don't know if I like this idea.
Oh, yeah, you won't be here.
He's the chairman.
Oh, you know, Jane will do it to you.
Conference call to Florida.
Well, you know,
Which is
just to give you a preview, we met the other night as a board of selectmen and assigned all the duties, and Joe Jessman had to be down in Virginia. He's with his
Georgia.
brother right now.
At the
Georgia.
Masters.
And, so, everything that came up that everybody hesitated, give it to Joe. Give it to Joe.
Oh, you're in trouble, Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Now
They
gonna
didn't
be
give
busier
anything
than
to
one
him.
on paper hanger in a windstorm.
But no, really, he wanted to do it, so. I had talked to him before he left, so it's not that bad.
So enjoy your
I
vacation.
had
Yeah.
just a
Yeah, right.
He'll be
comment
calling me, what'd I get?
to make or a thing.
He will too.
We had a couple, it was just an observation I made, but I guess back in January, February, we had that used car dealership, and one of our concerns was him moving the cars back from the road. During the snowstorm, I happened to have to, whenever we had snow on a Friday night recently, I happened to have to venture out and go to Laconia Hospital for myself. And Benson Auto Outlet, I noticed that their cars are right up against the road.
Benson, the outlet there?
The outlet over there, the car, so I'm just thinking if we're just gonna be fair to everybody,
Right,
we should, I don't know how we get them to move their cars back from the road. I don't know if it's code enforcement or,
well, I would say it would be code enforcement, but I think what we're gonna have to do is call the state and see what the right of way along there is where Benson Auto, the used cars are. You know, find out what the right of way is there and, see what their feelings are, you know, I mean, what do they insist on? You know, cause I don't know, that was the other thing I wanted to ask you, do you know whether Mr. Gaillard has applied for a curb cut to the state? A commercial curb cut?
I haven't seen one.
Because they're coming up next month, right, for their zoning,
Yes.
and I know the question's gonna come up.
I have some information from, DOT on that, cause I had contacted DOT.
I don't
Okay.
mind my asking, what is this
Jaguar.
reference to?
Jaguar Auto
Jaguar.
Wholesalers. Their site plan,
Where's the lot, number one?
it's up in, almost by the Winnisquam post office.
Oh, is that where Sears was?
No,
No.
further up, right next to Pirate Cove.
It's
Oh,
the
okay.
last, it's
Alright,
right next
Yeah,
door
yeah.
to the miniature golf course.
Yeah.
You know where all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cars,
yeah.
car lots,
Okay.
right there.
1,600 square feet of 60,000 square foot lot lying in the town of Tilton.
Right, and the rest is in San Martin.
But the most important 1,600 feet of that lot,
The frontage.
the frontage,
Is that 1,600
oh, something like that, it was something.
like
It's
square
smaller
feet
than
maybe?
that, I
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a small
small.
piece.
Yeah,
It's like 2 feet on one
Where
side
the-
and maybe 30 feet.
yeah,
Okay.
because Pirates Cove is.
Up there,
in
the
San
state
Martin.
right of way in
Yeah.
front of Jaguars is 25 feet from the center of the road.
Okay,
And Mr. Jaguar is not allowed to erect any type of barrier within the state right of way.
no barriers, but what about parking cars?
Well, he had said they had said something about putting a barrier
Right,
up.
about putting a barrier.
Yeah, to make it safer, you know,
Right.
for like issues. But, that's what they had said at that point.
I would think they wouldn't want
Cause,
it that way.
Jaguar was proposing to put up some type of barrier separating Route 3 right away from the display area, and they said that wasn't allowed. So that's what I have from them, is 25 feet from the center up there. I'd have to look as far as Benson's, but Benson's is also in, Jaguar's is in RC.
Right.
Benson's is in RG, which is regional commercial, which
Right.
may be
Well,
a little
they're
different.
permitted there, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that we want them right up to the edge of the road,
Yeah,
which is surprising, because they don't normally do that.
and we also, if, with Jaguar's, if you think about it, you also have to go to that one that sells the trailers, cause they're right in the front too. They got all their trailers right in
I
front.
think they're back.
They're back, well, the other morning, they had one right up there,
They all creep up.
yeah, cause he had one right in the front of everything, a flat trailer.
Digger or whatever it is, every Sunday
Oh,
I went to church.
God, you're such a kid.
No, I know, that's why.
Sorry, I didn't think about it.
I'd like to make a motion
Are
to
we done?
adjourn.
Second. We all second.
Yeah, really.
All in favor?
Yes, yes, yes.
Anybody say-
Opposed?
10:15.
Let's stay all night.
My husband says, you gonna be home early? Nope, not tonight, I just know it. 9:30 maybe. Well,
AM?
No, I get it.
Oh, well, you'll be back here.
Rich have a very wonderful vacation.
Not enjoy.
Karen, make him behave.
It's my neighbor, he works at Hanscom. He lives
So many
They're going
things
on
going
vacation, why do you wanna tie their hands
he
like
works at
that?
Hanscom.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
know.
take a runaway.
That's what they like, tying their hands.
I mean, you know, I know you write a lot of stuff down, but, you know, some of it's memory, and I don't know how to do that. Some days I don't even remember my name,
I get it.
you know?
Sometimes I go home and think, did I do that?
Yep, I know.
Do that.
Here's this, and it's all a mess now.
That's fine.
Anyway, I want you to know that when you told us
mess
you
with it?
wanted
I
to
thought
be
we
on
never
the
did
zoning
that.
board, I did go home and I said to Joe,
Oh,
Joe,
I'm getting ready
Norm
for
wants
the
to be on
nap.
the zoning board when he gets.
It's time for me to get up and
finishes being
Yeah,
selected.
I'll just stay. Got my minutes
Well, I
now.
already
So
asked
fresh.
Kathy, but Kathy says, no, I really like having it, so I just didn't want you to think.
No, I knew all about that,
Yeah.
well, about them asking